Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Raleigh Major. It's time for our second major of the year here for Rainbow Six. We've just seen some of our first matches come to a close as Empire was able to take down TSM. Went the distance, though, at 2-1 in the favor of Empire at the end of the day, only really taking control on the third and final map on Border, which both teams have gone quite a while without playing.
Yeah, the other two maps are very, very close. 7-5 and 7-4 were the score of the first two maps, but as you said, lots of control in the favor of Empire on Border, and truly a spectacle to behold, especially for TSM, because no one really knew what they were capable of until that matchup, and they stacked up pretty damn well.
We're moving into our second matchup now, and it's going to be another very good match, in my opinion. Evil Geniuses, of course, the hope of North America, stepping up to the plate once again to try and reclaim their former glory here at the Major, and they'll be going up against NIP from Latin America. Quite a bit of firepower coming up behind this team, especially in the recent months now, as they've been resurgencing themselves a little bit, especially inside of Latin America itself, and even making some appearances at places like the Vegas Minor as well, and doing pretty good there.
NA versus LATAM is always a very interesting thing to watch, as especially we've seen in recent history, especially like the Vegas Minor and a lot of the other stuff that has been going on. In recent history, though, Evil Geniuses has been stacking up pretty well against the LATAM squads.
It's going to be very fun to see how these two teams clash. EG, a team that, to be honest, we don't actually get to see them transition to LAN a whole lot necessarily. So considering that, this is a rare treat to see them play on LAN once again and kind of scope out how they're doing against a lot of the teams across the rest of the world. EG still very much a mainstay in North America that we've come to expect. Some very legendary names on that roster as well. Obviously, some of those notable ones like NVK, Canadian, stepping up to the plate as well. Gotcha still in the coaching mantle as well, since Gio did get his visa, so he is here too.
He's here.
He's made it.
He's in America, coming to America. Great movie, by the way.
So we've got Gio here, which means his own roaming capability is going to be second to none in this matchup. It's only the Brazilians, and we'll have to see how well those two face out against each other.
Honestly, for this matchup right here, I think there's only a couple things you need to notate. It's how is Evil Geniuses going to deal with this extremely aggressive playstyle of NIP? Again, we've talked about him a lot every time we bring up NIP, but it's going to be Psycho that you're going to have to worry about on that roster for a lot of that fragging potential. But here we go with Evil Geniuses up on the screen. It's NVK, Necrox, Canadian, Young, and Gio. He's here. Once again, if you guys are just joining us, Gio did get his visa. He is on American soil, and he's here to try and win the Raleigh Major.
Which also means we're going to start to get to see these guys play a little bit more after the Major, too. We'll start seeing them in places like USN Stage 3 when that starts up again in September. So we should be seeing a lot more of EG overall, and now that they've finally gotten over that issue with Gio and can fully commit themselves to the 5-man roster.
Well, you say finally got over it, but, I mean, Gotcha has the best stats in the entire world, player-wise.
Yeah.
The world.
Yeah. So.
Just saying.
Very important that they finally get him onto LAN, especially these US LANs.
I will bench you next map and I will play. Like,
but we still have Gotcha here with them, of course, standing behind the team, fulfilling his coaching roles this time around. So we'll be taking on just that role for this event, as Gio finally is able to step in.
And I also a little bit of an update of someone with a little bit of a discrepancy. We will tell you guys when we are going to talk about the matches going on the Bravo stream. We'll give you guys a little bit of a spoiler before we talk about those scores from now on. But Julio, Kamikaze, Psycho, Muzi, and Pino are what rounds out the Ninjas and Pyjamas. Who stands out for you on this roster, Blue?
Oh, we know that Psycho guy's crazy, right?
Yeah. Oh, is he?
Yes.
Kind of the name?
Yeah. Psycho, of course, being the one that stands out the most. I mean, we look at the stats department, it's pretty close, to be honest, between some of the top three players. Psycho, Muzi, and Julio all pulling out some very impressive stats. I still think Psycho comes out as the most impactful one at the end of the day, as much as we kind of meme that point to the death of it. Like, it is true at the end of the day. So you're definitely going to see most of the highlight frags and all of the plays coming out from him. But he's got those, as you saw, two other players, Muzi, to help him out as well under those circumstances, should he end up going down early due to either overextending. You know, every player has that really aggressive roamer for the most part now. It's kind of become a mainstay across a lot of teams. So in the event he goes down, those other two will pick up the pace.
Okay, are you guys ready? Spoiler alert. Team
Mute the stream.
Yep, mute the stream. Team Secret wins 7-3 on Coastline. So that means that there are, yeah, Team Secret wins 7-3. I thought I said TSM for a second. Team Secret wins 7-3 on Coastline. They will be moving on to the winners portion of Group B, and Rogue will be sent down to the elimination game, which will be played tomorrow.
We've got our bans coming in as well now for both of these teams. Same ban procedure we went through in the last series. 2 bans, one from each team, then 2 picks. Again, same thing, 1 from each team, followed up by the final bans. Whatever is left in the pool is the 3rd map at that point. Villa going to be the first pick here, coming in from EG, following that up with a Consulate play from NIP. Final 2 bans should be following this up relatively quickly, and then we'll see what our 3rd and final map is. EG not feeling comfortable enough on Cafe to bring it into their pool yet, and NIP definitely not preferring to go on to Clubhouse, even despite its recent rise in popularity, so we will end up on Coastline for the deciding matchup.
Well, and what we know from LATAM teams, all except Team 1, they don't play Coastline. They really don't like it. It's actually been banned out 10 times in recent history by the likes of NIP. So with that being said, seems like we are going to have a pretty interesting matchup. Their most played map is actually going to be Border for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but EG not going to allow that one through. Yeah,
that was the first ban they went for. Pretty much the same thing towards the end of it as well, as we saw NIP, I believe, ban out Clubhouse, since that's one of the more played maps for EG. They actually not one of the most successful ones, though, is they actually have a pretty poor record on it at the moment, EG does. So potentially could have let that one slide through as well. But going over there towards something like Coastline as well is kind of more of a middle of the road map for them. We haven't necessarily seen NIP play it a whole bunch of times, but the times they have played it, it's been relatively successful. So I think that at the end of the day, they can kind of rationalize going for that as the 3rd choice.
Evil Geniuses has spread so much of their play through all of the maps, you really can't even dictate which one you think that they are the absolute best. I mean, obviously we know that they're really good on Bank. We know that, but again, that's been a long-standing thing. Otherwise, their most played map has only been played 3 times, and it was Clubhouse.
Yep.
Other than that, it's Bank with 2, Coastline with 2, Cafe with 2, and Oregon with 2. But Oregon's not even in the map pool anymore, so it doesn't even matter.
And then every other map down to 1 at that point. So they do have every map in their pool in some degree. It's just hard to tell how settled in it is, because you don't get as much of a sample of matches in Siege as you sometimes do in other games. So it's a little bit harder to kind of anti-strat when it comes to the map bans and picks.
Either that or Gacha is literally just 1,700 IQ. And like, we're going to play every map 1 time.
Guys, we're actually going to learn every map.
Every one. All of them.
You'd think that would be crazy, but it's not. It just makes sense.
Not when you got Gacha as coach. But it's not going to matter anymore, folks. All of our banter out the window. It's time to start things up. EG versus NIP. First map is Villa.
Once again, guys, best of 3. First team to 2 maps will move forward into the upper bracket portion of their group to play for qualification into the quarterfinals tomorrow. The loser will have to go down to the lower bracket matchup for tomorrow and decide their fate on Wednesday if they can make it past that match. Habana going to be the initial ban here. Again, opens up a lot of possibility, especially on sites like Aviation and the bedroom push inside of areas like Trophy. So it just makes the attack a little bit more difficult for the offending side to deal with. Dokkaebi, interestingly enough, going to be the 2nd ban as well. First pick from Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, very smart ban from EG. I'm actually really surprised that it wasn't a Jackal. Usually Dokkaebi is banned out because of those logistics bombs and trying to get rid of information game, but they're still going to allow Jackal to be played as well, which of the 2 operators I would say is arguably better than Dokkaebi. Granted, she does ring everyone's phones, but Mute kind of hard counters that, but also you're not going to be riding on top of a Mute jammer the entire time. So I absolutely could still be effective. But of all these bans so far, I like the Habana ban the most, like you were talking about, making those impact tricks a lot more effective.
EG, I think, as well, also since they got the final attacker ban and they were kind of self-handicapping themselves at that point, probably deciding well before this match even started that they're not going to go for Dokkaebi if any of their players don't prefer to pick into that, and knowing that they can get the use out of Jackal, especially for anti-room capability on a huge map like this, that opens up a lot more play capability for them in this first half. Of course, they'll have to deal with that going on to the second half as well, but if they can get, 4 or 5 rounds in the first half, it's not going to matter as much.
Very true. Well, we are going to have Ninjas and Pyjamas starting on the defense once again. They will be going to Aviator Games Room, which is the traditional start that we see from these teams. Already going to have a 6-pick come out. We're actually going to have it happen twice. Thermite to Maverick, so we're just going to be switching Hard Breachers out there, and then we're going to have the Maestro picked up by Julio, switching off of the Bandit.
So let's get into the first round, folks. Let's see what exactly these teams have prepped for Villa. That'll be our first map and the initial pick from EG. NIP, of course, starting on the defense. Go right for Aviation Games. That's your usual site to start with. For anybody that might be newer to Siege, we usually have a kind of assumed safe rotation of sites that these teams will tend to go with. On this map, it starts out at this site. It goes to the other side of the map, following that over towards the Trophy and Statuary Room, close to where Geo and Psycho are right now on the Mozzie, or Geo's drone anyway is. And then following that, then they'll go to the downstairs sites if they absolutely absolutely have to.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, I'm with those. It's more of a spread between, you know, do you really want to go living room or do you want to go kitchen? More often than not, it is kitchen, but we have seen some teams favor living room instead, which...
There is one team, I'm trying to remember if it was NIP, it was either NIP or MIBR that actually, a couple matches ago in LATAM Pro League, did start on a living room site. And that was like the only time I've ever seen a team not start on Trophy or the current site, Aviation. So
definitely a way to throw a curveball at somebody, huh?
Yeah. It didn't work, unfortunately. They kind of got run over, but at least they tried it. Like, they're willing to play with the site choice a little bit.
Great idea, poor execute.
Yeah. By the way, LATAM seems to be willing to play with it a little bit more, as LATAM has a much looser meta, I think, compared to some of the other regions. Much more free-flowing meta, anyway.
Uh-oh.
That's a nice spot from Canadian.
Hello, Psycho.
Can he use it, though, is the problem.
Well, Geo can definitely use it as they're getting the information that he is still inside of the room. Oh, quick shot from Geo. Good night, Psycho. Through the wall, and again, Geo's back.
He's back, he's in the game, and he's already got a double kill within the first minute of his tournament. Moves in, finds Pino, followed up after he took out Psycho due to that great drone intel through the hole. The very thing that he's meant to counter out ends up being his demise. And now with a two-man lead, there's no need for Geo. Actually, that's already... Everything is taken care of for this guy right now.
He's staying at a five-star hotel. Just everything's taken care of. Doesn't drop the towel on the floor. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
They've got a Claymore service at this hotel, apparently. Set it up for him in advance.
All right, well, Evil Genius is definitely starting off on the right foot. Ninjas and Pyjamas have to reel back and try and find something from sight, because right now, if you give up any more pressure, this will spell demise. They are going to be able to knock down NVK, but now before he gets one of his EMPs off, he more than likely will be able to get picked up. Julio's actually all the way downstairs as well, which... This is actually going to be quite an awkward spot for him, especially with a slow-moving 3-armor. You're very loud as a 3-armor as well when you sprint, so they're more than likely going to have the information on exactly where this man's going to be rotating if they have ears.
And he got naded out, as you just saw right there, too, so he's forced back upstairs pretty quickly. Kamikaze with a nice find. Julio! Muzi walks right into his line of fire, but what? Julio gets 2 as well. Knocks out Nexrox and Young. NVK's able to trade for 1, but we end up in a 1x1. 45 seconds left. Kamikaze is set up directly for this peek from NVK, but is he going to take it? It's not looking like it. Has backed away from the angle. Going to smoke off the doorway now as Kamikaze will still look to hold that position. Drone going to move in. There we go. Confirming the position, and Kamikaze doesn't even know it just yet. NVK knows he can start to push in through this smoke, but we've also got the smoke. Kamikaze making a wraparound to the other side. However, like I said before, the drone intel, NVK knows that this is happening, so we can set up behind the safe doorway. At the moment, there's no way for Kamikaze to get on top of him. Till has 2 smoke grenades, and ultimately NVK is still stuck in that corner when Kamikaze pushes the site, so he will close out against NVK, and NIP will get the opening round.
Mow down the other team, mow down your friends. When you have an LMG, it really doesn't matter.
When you have the Alda, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. The Alda, the saw is the law, dude. That's how it goes. So, I mean, a crazy round there from both teams. We saw the prowess of Geo and just how good this man can be with information and able to pick up those 2 early kills. And we thought Evil Geniuses was just going to, coast through the first round, end up picking up an easy first round. But Julio had other things in mind, including killing his teammate.
And so coming off of that one, it's a good start from NIP. Now it's time to see how they build on top of it here. Obviously having to adjust their rowing presence as Geo just walked all over them at the beginning of the round. Really the only part of the round that went wrong for the guys on NIP, because they were saved at the end of the day by Julio with that great Maestro play. So can't be relying on that on every single round, however. Still very much a round that EG absolutely should have won after getting a 5v3 advantage just a few seconds into it. So they still have a few things to make up for going into the second round now on Trophy Statue.
Whoa. As we've seen before, Canadian loves to go on this carousel of operators, as we see him play anything from Montang to Jackal to Twitch to Ash to Thatcher to literally anything that Evil Geniuses needs. He is the man that flexes those ops. Canadian now switching over to the Jackal, which we did not have before, which could make things just a little bit easier, at least on the roam game. You can keep your drones alive a lot longer because all you need really is, okay, this man rotated from here to get downstairs. I track his footsteps on the staircase real quick, and all of a sudden we have free information.
They'll be assuming assuming, I would guess, that once again they're going to try to play out the roamers into the open on that first floor, so looking to catch them early on. Thankfully, you can avoid them a little bit more when it comes to this site's attack by just kind of going for a straightforward play into areas like Astronomy on top of the bedroom control. If you can pinch out those two areas, normally, for the most part, you'll have a good capability to deny any of those roamers downstairs from rotating into you. You just have to keep constant watch on the two staircases at red outside of the sites themselves, and then over at Astronomy right next to them.
All right, well, slow beginnings here for Evil Geniuses as they're trying to gain a little bit of information. It is going to be Pino downstairs inside of kitchen. That was a silhouette you guys saw just cross inside and now rotating over into the dining areas. It appears that they are going to be holding down the kitchen/dining/tarps area, which is that door to Canadians left right now. So as long as you're able to hold this down, this should actually be a pretty easy round for them. Otherwise, Evil Geniuses is going to have to try and just mainly focus on getting that bedroom wall open. Jackal track, though, and it should be off. Actually, no, it's a man inside of kitchen. I believe I saw one off to the right as well, all the way over by the main stairs.
Tossing EMP grenade.
So, much slower start to the round this time, but as you can see, still some good drone intel being picked up here by EG, figuring out the setup well in advance. A little bit of damage being chucked in against these guys, however, as Necrox trying to take a fight. Closer to the bedroom. I think it was crossing over towards the master bath as well. So being a little bit careful of that, but as you can see from the drone footage, there's no presence on the inside of it. You do have Pino hiding on the Legion, just over here behind the desk, or actually, excuse me, it's probably Muzi. Instead, Pino is elsewhere downstairs. But regardless, they've got, look at this, so much intel coming onto these guys. Julio, actually the player sitting behind that reinforcement at the end of the day. Canadian walking in, he's already picked up Pino. Follows that up with a second kill onto Psycho, as once again, roam presence is dealt with. There is a third player still looking to trade this frag back out, though, and translate it down to a 4v3, or 3v3, actually, because they did manage to find Necrox in the early round, too.
Just because you have a Jackal doesn't mean that everything's clear, and Muzi's still going to be lined in the strengths, and he will find Canadian taking out the Jackal. Once again, just because they had two roamers doesn't mean there isn't another one. Quick impact, but it's going to be NVK to answer the call as Kamikaze gets aggressive. Gio's going to take a little bit of damage, but definitely not anything to be fatal. Young already did some work on the Master Wall with that breaching torch, so they have plenty of space to try and get this done and diffuser in hand. They've recognized out that Julio is still playing inside of Astronomy. They just have to worry about where Muzi is. He was on rotation, could possibly have came up red stairs, and that's exactly where he's going to be playing. He's going to be playing near the statuary door. Quick shots. He's not going to take any damage from that shot from Gio. He continues to try and battle back. It's going to be NVK to take down Julio, though, and then Muzi will fall to NVK as well as they get aggressive on statuary. And it'll be Evil Geniuses finding their first round.
Evil Geniuses is continuing to build off of the success that they somewhat had in round number 1. Unfortunately, had problems with the execute at the end of the day, trying to force themselves in through the study, and lost control of that first round. Second round, not only does the anti-roam stay strong in a 2-for-1 trade on it downstairs, but the execute goes off without a hitch this time. Much more clean, working their way in, and also NIP potentially getting slightly over-aggressive, like for instance the one push they made into master bedroom, trying to take out EG, who had already been set up in that room for a good 10 to 20 seconds at that point. And at least in my opinion, NIP should have been able to safely assume that they would have countered out any type of push like that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like of all the teams here, the team with the biggest chip on their shoulder is going to be Evil Geniuses, especially after what happened at Milan with the whole Oregon match up against Empire. They had it in the bag. All they had to do was just clutch up that last round, and they were back on top of the world. And they ended up throwing that, and then Clubhouse was definitely not the place to try and battle back from. Evil Geniuses ended up losing that match, as everyone knows and loves to meme about. And Empire, as we saw in the last match, still in form. But Evil Geniuses of all teams right now definitely want to prove that that wasn't a fluke to get to that final. They can definitely do it once again.
I mean, hey, at least they don't have to worry about Oregon anymore.
That's true.
It's done and dusted.
Thank God.
It's all cafe boys now.
It's all the cafe boys.
So, into our third round. Once again, it'll be an attempt at trophy statuary. The second one that we shall see from the guys on NIP. It's time to see if indeed they can strengthen up this defense, if their roamers can finally catch some impact here, as they've been having very little luck, especially on initial contact. Some luck in trading it out kind of after the fact, but it's not enough, unfortunately, to turn these rounds back on its heels just as of yet. So we'll see how they continue to try and improve that. Much more direct contention of the office this time, as you've got both Muzi and Psycho looking to hold against a push, and actually, they might get, oh! That looked like a team kill, but no, it is Psycho instead getting the better of Necrox. Gio, unfortunately, doesn't have the angle to trade this, so it's a clean opening kill for the guys on NIP.
Well, Necrox was the first dead last time as well, but it immediately got cleaned up by Evil Geniuses and Canadian on the Jackal, but now he's on the IQ. And as we talked about before, this man is more than likely not going to play the same operator twice. It's just the way Canadian works. He will play 7 separate operators in the same matchup. So, again, it can either be a massive help or a massive detriment. It just depends on what the 6 picks look like coming out from Ninjas in Pyjamas, or really what cards they have on the table. With the IQ on the table right now, it's really not going to do anything except counter out Pino.
Dronework starting to funnel its way into the master bedroom here now to give EG once again that right to push, as well as safety of the push as well, which they desperately need at this point since they're already down a man. They can't afford to take kind of a risk and just pushing into a window where they don't know what's on the other side of it. It would be foolish and potentially set them up for a 3v5 disadvantage. So they need to make sure that whatever they're taking control of is safe, either through drone intel or some other means.
Yeah, we're recognizing now that there's an ADS behind the astronomy desk and still holding down statuary as well. At least the hallway right outside of it, or benches. Young now. Do some work on the master wall with that breaching torch, and slow goings here at least as they're going to see the rotations. It appears that Ninjas in Pyjamas just not recognize out drones as they practically run by quite a few of them, and Psycho's now going to get removed from the map. Canadian hopping down on the other side as well, as it seems that Evil Geniuses is getting poised for their take.
Canadian with the hop in towards Mudroom. He'll start to lurk forward as well. This is commonly been where we started to see the members of NIP catch members of EG as they safely assume that the first floor is clear. But as you can tell from the way the Canadian's proceeding here, he does not have that assumption this time. He's being very careful to clear things out, as they know they've always had that late round roam trade thrown against them. At the moment, the two roamers, or the, well, I should say Canadian and the roamer from the other side, are kind of playing ring around the rosy with each other. But NBK is going to be able to catch Kamikaze upstairs, and that's going to force Muzi's hand to start rotating back up through astronomy.
Recognizes out Geo on top of the staircase. That concussion launched into the staircase will recognize out that someone was getting aggressive on astronomy staircase, but it's going to be Pino to take down Canadian downstairs. No longer will there be an IQ. Julio continues to tack on as well, as he's finally showing some face from astronomy. Evil Genius has been on top of the world, at least for that room, as a quick rotation from Pino will be able to take down yet another as he continues to try and tack on. It's only Young remaining with 7 seconds. He finds Julio. He needs to try and remove both of them from playing. Right now, he only has one more to find, but he's got to try and put that diffuser down. He's going to try and hard rotate. So, Ninjas in Pyjamas up 2-1.
Pino's just going to quickly go AFK for about 5 seconds there.
That's all you really need
at the end of the round.
Don't give it to him. Because Young, of all people, will win that gunfight. That is, look, I will argue this point to the death. He is the best support player in the entire world. There's no one that plays support as good as Young does.
So some good adjustments, however, there from NIP. Definitely didn't overplay their hand that time on the aggression, which is something I was starting to get worried about. There still was 1 or 2 players that ended up going down to it, but it was a much more controlled, and I don't think they were ever pushing it to a point where they would risk their position in the round by taking those fights. So much more stable play from NIP overall, and as you can see, it yields success as EG spends so much time trying to deal with that or at least Canadians spend so much time trying to deal with that roamer downstairs. They kind of get distracted from the actual execute, and ultimately, at the end of the day, don't have enough time to clear out the site defenses.
All right, well, we're going to put Canadian back on Jackal now, as he's seen that helped out quite a bit with that roam clear, and Ninjas in Pyjamas has been roaming extremely heavily, almost every single defense that they've had so far, so they need to try and find an answer to that, and I really do feel like it is going to be Canadian on this Jackal. He found those 2 initial frags, I believe it was round 2 they ended up winning, where he found those 2 initial frags, and really set them up for that round victory. They had that before on the previous round, though, as well, in the likes of Geo, but just could not find anything of it. As we said before, Julio on that Maestro, mauling his friend, but also taking down 2 enemies at the same time, which, again, pretty equal trade.
So going down into the round itself, we've got the guys from EG spawned onto the table. Time to see how they'll proceed. Once again, a lot of self-destruction being done on the inside of office there to allow for a little bit more play from the bottom floor this time, since they've gone back to aviation. And we've got eyes on Julio right now. Still roaming around trying to set up anything in the early round he might be able to pick up for himself. We can see that Geo is already going to be droned in, though. He's going to start working his way forward downstairs. Pino directly above him. Might be able to find something later on, but I don't think we're going to run into any direct contention. Canadian, however, should have been able to get eyes on Psycho. Maybe a little bit late to see him, but now it looks like they got an idea. Canadian is going to pop open the window. Won't be able to find much, though.
And we'll recognize out that Psycho could possibly be anywhere. It seems like Psycho might be getting very aggressive. Oh, this is going to be
timing
very
of this.
close. Ooh, that was very, very close. Ends up rotating right up red stairs. Necrox does not have the reaction time for it. Has enough to put a couple bullets in the butt of Psycho right on the tailcoats, but not enough to be fatal just yet. We'll be able to clear out the mid floor, though, as a quick shot through the Jaeger of Muzi, but it's not going to be fatal yet again, just tagging him up, which definitely will help later into the round.
Necrox choosing not to continue that fight necessarily either, but he does turn himself around and find Julio instead, who I believe would have leaped down in that situation. Psycho, however, is able to catch Geo, but Young trades it right back on to Psycho. Everyone from EG is kind of backing up right now, trying to play very carefully as they don't necessarily know what Nip's going to throw at them next. Pino re-aggresses down at the main hallway, works his way forward as he leaps down red stairs and finds another pick for his team.
Yeah, this is some peak LATAM play, as we see, as they continue to try and apply that pressure, especially from this region. We don't see them really give up any part of the map for free. They'd much rather die trying than just giving it up. Well, Evil Geniuses now have to try and pick up the pieces. Things are pretty equal across the board. No more ACOGs on the defense. I actually didn't even have any to start. It's not really going to matter for that point. But almost out of Jackal checks is Canadian. He does have Jaeger marked right now, which is Muzi. More likely a good idea that he did have him marked out, because it's going to be the man that we're more than likely going to have rotating. But as you say, that Pino's been the one that's really been the focal point so far on this defense. We'll recognize out that Jaeger is inside a vault. They don't have any frag grenades, though, to try and handle him, and there is an ADS inside. So they're going to have to try and face track it to try and deal any damage. We do have Pino on the flank right now from 90, though. This could pay out in spades. Canadian holding the cross, waiting for Pino to rotate through. Pino has appeared to have stopped inside of 90, though. Could find Canadian if he peeked out right now. This would be a massive pick and make this a lot easier. You just gotta wait in the timings right now. Is he not gonna recognize out that Pino's here? Doesn't even look. Canadian gets taken down. Once again, it's gonna get tied up, though, at a 2v2. 14 seconds remain.
EG, again, not really having the execute capability here because the roam presence has been so prevalent against them the entire round. Pino and Kamikaze shut it down at the office to aviation doorway, and NIP claiming yet another round on this defense.
They're just doing so good with these late round rotations, and they just really have not been shut out just yet. It really appears that Evil Geniuses doesn't think that they're going to rotate out of what they're trying to set up. They set up that full frontal assault. They left 90 all on its lonesome. You could legitimately do anything. There's no nomads, nothing. They haven't brought an operator like that yet to be able to shut down these angles. And then Canadian doesn't even look that way. Yep. He doesn't even recognize out that Pino, the man that's literally been rotating around this entire map, that entire round, could possibly be inside of 90 and gets punished for that.
Pino ran like the full circuit that round, too.
That man ran literally like 2 miles in one map.
He peaked, I think he peaked main stairs at one point. He peaked somewhere down below red stairs they get a kill, and then he was playing that corner angle at 90 behind the pillar as well. That dude was everywhere in that round. So, like, to be fair to EG, like, it's kind of hard to track him down even with literally a Jackal to do that. As unfortunately, most of the rotations he was going for are relatively safe, like somewhere upstairs and somewhere that EG wouldn't have been able to see his footsteps from. So he had a lot of free reign that round. And we'll have to see if he can continue that play. At the moment, it's going off unrestricted. After those two sites are closed out, however, they have to go back downstairs now, so they're going to head into the living room. Things are going to get a little bit more difficult to win on the defense, but with the way it's going right now, especially with how much delay capability they've shown against EG, there might still be a chance for them yet, although it's much, much more difficult to delay on this site due to its openness and the fact that in general you don't have to deal with second floor presence too much here.
Attacker's objective is to locate
All right, well,
and defuse
in typical NIP or Latin fashion, we are going to continue to have a aggressive roam game, and it's been working out for them so far. Evil Geniuses have not really been able to shut it down. They've had some rounds showing that they can possibly do it, but even in those rounds, they really haven't found too much. The only round that Evil Geniuses has found so far was off the back of some plays from Canadian. They have switched things up once again. They've moved Geo over to the Jackal, and now they have Canadian on the IQ once again. So just trying to shut down as much of this as possible. Psycho's been on a lot of Valkyrie, which is an operator he's extremely known for. He can get a lot of information on those black eye cameras, and that's traditionally how he sets them up. He sets them up on angles to where he can get that immediate information and immediately take the gunfight after, which leads to a pretty easy kill. Pino, though, will start us off here for round 5 and immediately shuts down the Jackal of Evil Geniuses.
So, a good start indeed. Knocking out Geo first off. NVK, I mean, we're just like kind of going in a rotation here. At the moment, it's either team that starts off with an initial pick. It usually gets traded a moment later, and that's what we end up with once again. Back into a 44. This is not really progress for EG, however. This just plays into NIP's hands right now, unless they continue to play this aggressively and give up more players, which they really haven't shown a trend of doing, except for maybe one round so far. So this is still just business as usual, which NIP is going to be happy with.
All right, well, still trying to search for any of these roamers that are upstairs right now is Necrox. He's all on his lonesome, though. No drones in front of him either. Really wouldn't matter, though, as Pino is lining the strengths inside of Statuary. Canadian, though, will take down Julio, which is going to help out quite a bit, especially getting the Legion off the board. Only halfway through now, so it does not have all of them, as NVK is going to get walked up on from behind as Pino slips through the cracks with that ERC-7 backpack helping him out just a little bit. Continues to get to play his life as Muzi will rotate up as well, just for the assistance on the sledge. Necrox on his lonesome now, standing outside of Trophy.
Even fight once again, down to a 3v3 with a minute left. EG still trying to go for site control, but they are so spread out right now. Muzi gonna walk right up onto Necrox. That's the second free kill the NIP have had just in this round by literally just flanking players, and there being not appropriate watches set up to counter it. Kamikaze with yet another one now stunts the remaining EG roster, brings it down to only Canadian in a 1v3.
It's almost like jump scares here for Evil Geniuses, as every single corner is just yet another contention, and yeah, this is going to be a free kill.
Hello.
He's going to punch Canadian right in his face, and that's going to be round number 4 for Ninjas in Pyjamas. And as of right now, I feel like the only saving grace Evil Geniuses has on this last offensive round is pick something up to try and control where they can rotate through. Pick up the Gridlock, pick up the Nomad, pick up something besides just information game to help you out.
Yeah, I mean, like, your anti-roam is good, right? Like, you could trade it. The problem is it's just so prevalent and so core to NIP strategy that I don't think you can really focus on it entirely, because even so, they're still trying to get access to the site and whatnot, and as a result of that, they're leaving far too much open, it seems.
Well, a lot of these have just been helpful from their roaming partners, for instance, or having someone rotate off-site to help your roamer. Pino, or excuse me, the Vigil got locked. Psycho. No, it wasn't Psycho. Julio, was it? I can't remember. Anyways, the Vigil upstairs ended up getting some help from the Mozzie that rotated up red, and that's really all they needed. They end up giving all the ones up to the Vigil upstairs, but they immediately have the Mozzie to rotate upstairs because they recognize out, okay, Vigil has been found upstairs. He's going to need some help. We send somebody on a flank, and they only brought one person to the party, which was the sledge. Ended up taking him down, leading to a pretty easy round for Ninjas in Pyjamas. They just need to be more tight-knit upstairs when they're on their roam clear. They don't have anybody for flank watch.
Depends on which round it was for which specific player that was, because I noticed Julio and...
They rotate so much on these ops.
Julio and Pino have been switching ops around, and Psycho, I think, a little bit too. Yeah. Muzi's been pretty consistent on the Jaeger, but besides that, they've been pretty free-floating with these roaming. And you can see, I mean, it's basically like 4 roamers right now. And if you really want to throw smoke out there, he can kind of run around with an SMG-11 as well. But I mean, you're probably not going to see that. So.
Kamikaze's more than likely going to be sitting on site the whole time, but the rest of these have just been running this carousel of operators, which, again, a little bit difficult to track, but that's absolutely fine. It's working out for them. And that's exactly what they need. And again, Evil Geniuses against LATAM teams in recent history have had a pretty good track record, but it appears that Ninjas in Pyjamas is looking to change that.
Well, let's see if EG can get onto the board with at least one more round here before the half closes out and they head onto the defense. Otherwise, it's going to be a hard time, even with the defensive half coming up here, for them to try and bargain back in from a 5-1 deficit if they end up going down again. At the moment, these have all started to go to the control of NIP, and it's slowly tilted more and more into their favor. EG had a pretty good start onto this map. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to follow it up, as roaming presence specifically has just been tearing them apart ever since.
All right, we'll see if Geo or Canadian can start things off on the proper foot this time around for Evil Geniuses, because so far they've not been able to have the same success that they had in the first 2 rounds, and they definitely need it right now. Don't want Ninjas in Pyjamas starting off 5-1 here on Villa. As of right now, Evil Geniuses staring down the barrel of something not too hot for them.
Second floor.
So we're going to see remainder of EG, already with easy access to the bedroom, trying to once again avoid that roaming presence as heavily as possible and trying to focus their strat on the bedroom push. May not be a bad way to go about that. Problem is they're going to have to be constantly wary of things like nitro cells being thrown out from below them. If they're not watching for that, that could very easily lead to the deaths of quite a few of them before they even start this execute. But they're able to get up to the wall relatively, conflict-free. He's going to get tricked on first attempt. There's an impact trick that comes over the top and stops that from happening. Well, left with only one more way to hard breach, and they absolutely have to get this wall open. Otherwise, executing is going to be so difficult. Let's see. Nade's going over the top here in a second to try and stop the trick from happening. At the moment, it hasn't led to much of a kill, and there we go. Successful trick a second time. Both hard breach attempts from the attackers just goes right into the dirt.
Yeah, not a very good look for Evil Geniuses now. So Nitro Cell does sail through the air. I heard the beeping, but nothing going to go off just yet. Still on rotation is Ninjas in Pyjamas, and we've seen them contest this quite a bit. Head is going to poke up a Jaeger, but he does not see Canadian. I'm going to assume that the hollow sight actual casing was blocking Canadian in the hallway, as it appeared that Muzi had peeked to the right just a little bit too much. Psycho, though, will be able to trade things back. That'll be Geo falling next.
So Psycho with the first pickup. Where his team starts to trade it back. And again, look at how much time has been wasted, down to 30 seconds. NIP still have players waiting in the wings to pounce on EG if they go for an execute through Astronomy, which, considering their heavy setup inside of the bedroom, is really their only choice. But as you can see, they pulled their players for the most part outside of there, started to rotate them back around. However, look at this. They've gotten 3 kills out of absolutely nowhere. Looking for a fourth in a second, and it would be the final one as well. NVK gets it done, and EG come out of absolutely nowhere with that round win. A last-second change-up to their strategy is apparently exactly what was needed, and something that NIP couldn't see coming.
Again, when one thing doesn't work, sometimes you just got to get aggressive. That's really all Evil Geniuses had left. No more thermite charges, no more EMPs. They've dedicated all of their utility. All they have left is firepower, and that's all that they needed at the end of the day. So Evil Geniuses, instead of letting this go to a 5-1, end up picking up that last round, making it a 4-2. A little bit easier to come back with, and Necrox going to be rocking the new Smoke Elite skin. So I believe that this is going to be the first time you guys get to see this in a game.
Yeah, really, this will be cool. Make sure we check that out, Marcio, when we get in game.
It's a very interesting skin.
I haven't seen this one yet, I don't think.
It's pretty cool.
I haven't seen this one like at all. I was kind of, honestly, I was kind of scary looking at it for the first time.
Dude, yeah,
it's a creepy looking
It's a pretty
picture.
terrifying skin. It's like post-apocalyptic teenager.
Let's see what he looks like. Where is he? Zoom in. Oh, that's right, you can't zoom in anymore.
Enhance.
Very nice.
Enhance.
Got the hoodie on.
Yeah, man.
Rocking the casual clothes.
Yeah.
I dig it.
He's got the nice shoes on.
He's got the kicks, right?
Yeah, dude, he's got the kick, dude. Shoe game on point. Post-apocalyptic shoe game on point.
Very nice. All right, well, Necrodox will be rocking that. Rest of the team, in the meantime, is just going to roll with the normal skins and stuff. But, of course,
that shotgun skin is sick.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Oh, dude, that's dope.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm buying this right when it comes out. Yeah. Yeah, no, like, first day, like right when I log
It's like futuristic and like punk at the same time. It's got the graffiti on it. It's got like the hexagram pattern. I'm digging it. All right.
Thank you, Ubisoft, for cool skins.
Enough about skins, though. Let's get into the
That's
round.
some great analysis about the skins. 100%. Skins win games.
We have not been paid to promote this skin.
Skins are wins. Remember that.
Yeah. But getting into the round, as you might expect, we were going to see EG start out on Aviation Games. Setup, again, looking pretty standard as far as the operator lineup is concerned. Castle being brought back into it, too, to add a little bit of resistance to this one. We're going to see the Twitch play coming in from Julio here, just talking about some default cams, not necessarily finding super impactful gadgets to take out, just fulfilling its normal drone duties at the moment to clear things out for the rest of the team and kind of analyze what their options are for an attack. As well, they can see, you know, the trophy side of the first floor is that's towards like kitchen and the living room area. It's pretty much left open right now. No roaming presence at all there from EG. So as you're going to see now, NIP's players are going to walk right into the second floor since they don't have to worry about like a pulse or anything or any other player potentially with info to throw a nitro cell out from down below them.
Well, when Nomad is on the field, Ninjas in Pyjamas plays her 100% of the time. So more than likely, you're going to see this every single round. And why not? Nomad's air jabs are so good on these maps with a lot of roam potential, where you're able to shut down a lot of the pathing that they want to take. Canadian, not going to get knocked down just yet. Actually, he's got a free rotation inside of Master here, and he might be able to find Zofia. I believe Psycho, yes, as he is rotating over toward the statuary door. No air jabs just yet to pick up Canadian, as he has been basically in safe harbor so far, and doesn't seem like anyone's going to be able to recognize out exactly where he is. No air jab on this door either, so he's able to walk through. That's a free kill. The trigger discipline. He's going to rotate once again. He takes out another Canadian with 2. Muzi with 1, but it's going to be a trade.
It's a triple in my book.
Will fall as well as he baits his teammate into shooting each other. Drone hole now for Muzi, but it's not going to find anything.
So Canadian basically getting 3 kills as far as I'm concerned right there.
Attackers
Baits his
have recovered
opponents that
their
are shooting each
Add it
other
to
at
his
least.
column.
Yeah.
Add it to the column.
Well, someone's got a Sharpie. We'll adjust the scoreboard later. Moosey's going to work his way back in over here towards Aviation as well. Start the push from the other side. They've been stunted, unfortunately, after this one. So Julio going to have to try and literally punch his way in. It's not going to work too well, though. And ultimately, there's just not a lot of execute potential showing up here from MedIP at this point. EG looking a lot stronger now after that beautiful play from Canadian.
Yeah, and some slow play, definitely going to award Evil Geniuses this round. They don't want to get overly aggressive. Muzi to fall, and it's going to continue to be Julio just punching this door 12 times. Finally, he breaks the wall, and more than likely not going to be coming up with too much. Julio will adjust over to the window now, but once again, should not bear any fruit. This is going to be a massive misplay if he comes back from this at all.
NVK in the meanwhile, still waiting for this push to work its way back in. Julio does actually get past the door. Thought he would already be dead at this point. Problem is he's locked in the room now, and he only has 8 seconds left. He's just got to make a play at some point. Not really much room to bargain for. He gets the kill. I mean, I'm impressed he's made it this far. But yeah, time's going to run out in just a moment. And the expected result of that round, especially after the play from Canadian, is achieved as we do end up seeing EG shut it down.
Very clean round from Evil Geniuses, able to shut down quite a bit of what Nip was trying to perform. And honestly, I want to know where that air jab was of Nomad's, because he had already used one of them. You get 3, he only had 2 in his inventory, which means that there was an air jab somewhere. We never heard it go off. We never saw it. We never heard anything from it. We didn't even hear the beeps. So Canadian, just a free rotation up Astronomy. Usually that's the first thing that you get rid of, is that Astronomy staircase, and force them to have to go up red.
Well, they ended up seeing that this time, so Canadian getting away with quite a bit. Either dealt with by Canadian somehow, or Muzi just never really putting it onto the ground. Fortunately, we'll never know. Looks like we are going to end up in a quick tech pause here, ladies and gentlemen, so do excuse the little bit of delay in between the rounds. And we have a small issue looks like we have to fix for EG real quickly, so we'll get right on that, and then jump back into the game as quickly as possible here.
And just a quick reconnection here is... Still, coaches
hopefully not a rehost.
Yeah, no, it won't be a rehost. It goes hot back in. We're on land, dude. You just get to pause it. See?
Oh,
yeah, beauty of land builds.
I can figure we don't have that outside of lands.
Yeah, land build is so nice. It's so good.
All right, guys. So we'll get that fixed as soon as possible and jump right back into the match. But this is, once again, shown out to be a pretty good matchup so far, especially with such a strong opening round from EG on their defensive side. I think, there's a good chance, especially since they're only 1 round behind, there's a really good chance now for us to see EG, battle back into it, even going through their site rotations and whatnot, and start to forge a new path for them to still claim control over this opening map on Villa. And, I mean, to be honest, it looked like it was going to go pretty solidly the way of NIP coming off that first half. They were really in control of things, but not so much anymore, especially with EG getting the first round under their belt. Let's see if they can continue that as we are going live once again, folks. And interestingly, we're going to see EG choose to bypass the trophy statuary room and go down to dining and kitchen instead.
Going to be a very interesting site choice. Is more than likely trying to throw things off. This is all going to be about that verticality. They have to shut down Pino early on here. Otherwise, this is going to be practically a free round for Ninjas and Pyjamas. Verticality is everything on this site, and Ninjas and Pyjamas is bringing everything they need to lock down that upstairs. Once again, they're going to play Nomad every single round. Well, at least with what they've shown in history. Again, when it's available, 100% of the time, they play Nomad.
That's how I'd play it.
Yeah, I mean, Nomad's truly incredible. I'm the same way with Thatcher. If Thatcher's available, you play him. It's free. Yeah. All you do is throw it literally on a roof, on a wall. It doesn't even have to go in the building. You're able to get rid of so much stuff.
I think especially on a map like Villa, where it's a huge map, right? But in my opinion, there's a lot of choke points. There's a lot of walls and whatnot to segment the map out pretty heavily. So I think that there's a lot of room for Nomad to find success in the air jabs actually detonating as a result of that. And then even building from that too. I think the odds are you're going to have a pretty close fight. So there's a pretty good chance that when the air jab goes off, someone is nearby to kill the person it hits.
All right, well, hold on. I gotta deal with Twitch chat real quick. It's okay.
Okay.
So, guys, just to update you. Young has a 1.11 over Season 9 for his stats. Goga had a 0.91, so there's that. Because a lot of people are just like, Young's not the best support in the world. Look, just check the stats, boys, okay? If you go to Season 10, it's the exact same way. Isn't that crazy? Holy crap. It's wild. Wow.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Moving off of that point.
Would you look at that?
And into the execute itself.
I'm just messing with them. Anyway, I love messing with you guys. It's so much fun. Triggering Twitch chat is just something of a spectacle, isn't it? It's great. But
It's always fun.
yeah, anyways, both in their own right, insane players. But you can't discount what Young can do, especially on land. You guys saw him at Milan. Truly insane. Julio, they're going to shut down Gio. Gio literally looks lost on red stairs, staring upstairs. He's downstairs. Again, Julio's starting things off, and one we've come to expect from Julio, especially on these roam clears, fantastic play. As you said before, usually we talk about Psycho and his ability to frag out, but there's literally 3 to 4 members on Ninjas in Pyjamas that, when it's time to call, they show up.
Yeah, Psycho hasn't necessarily been like a standout player in this map at all so far. Like, he's been kind of blending in with the rest of his team.
It's really been Julio and Pino.
Yeah, and that's not to say that Psycho's doing bad by any means. It's just like there's other players stepping up to the plate right now, and like Psycho, you know, to a certain extent, it does get pushed forward a little bit more in that one. As you were mentioning, the rest of the team brings quite a bit of firepower too. So this is a really aggressive team. I mean, they were literally playing 4 roamers on the last round of defense. So they have a lot of confidence behind them too.
A lot of fun stuff going on here, as we are going to have some initial droning coming out from Nip, as they're just now trying to handle the upstairs Psycho on drone, as we are going to hear Pino with that skeleton key doing some work on the flooring. So all this has been given up. There's not even Nitro Cell on the defense to really try and apply a crazy amount of pressure upstairs or try and go for a kill. All they can try and do is play these angles that Pino establishes and try and slow them down. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Canadian's going to get a little bit of elevation on the kitchen counter. Ends up finding one of those angles through and knocks out Pino.
So, into a 4v4 now. Both teams finding even trades. Canadian working with the Necrox to push their way, or hold, I should say, inside of kitchen here, and fend off a direct push through the main door leading into it. Already the buck being dealt with, of course, now trying to knock out the rest of the team, and still having to be cautious of the upstairs control, too, as we still see NIP looking to funnel in, gather their control there. Besides this, it's all quiet around the map. You can see members of EG just kind of waiting for the execute to happen, since there's only 20 seconds left here. They've done a great job of delaying and keeping this entire round is basically a no contest situation. Neither team wanting to take any risks. Muzi with a nice push though finds Necrox hiding at the basement stairs leading up towards Astronomy. More players going to work their way in. Young is actually going to get aggressive. Reps the corner. Doesn't look like he got the kill, but he got some decent damage against the execute. Now Canadian looking to hold the line. Gets his double after Young falls a few seconds beforehand, and now just has to waste time. But no, it won't work. The planter going onto the ground. He does have a hard ping port, but I don't think he can penetrate that far. So plant should go onto the ground. Now Canadian having to try and ice out these angles. Again, just not a whole lot being given to him, even with pings, and fails to account for Julio being peeked in the open. So NIP trade out the opening rounds, going 1 for 1 and keeping them in the lead.
Julio has been so good so far on Villa, and dude, we still have two possible maps to go through on this series. Truly incredible stuff so far from Julio, especially on this Jackal game. Roam clear initially was very good upstairs. Granted, they did get punished on those angles that Pino had established, but it didn't seem to matter. We're able to gain all the access that they needed on site, and Evil Geniuses falter.
This was EG's pick too, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it was.
So potentially going to drop their own map pick. Always a worrying sign, but we'll have to see how that continues to pan out as we move throughout the rest of this map and into map number 2, as we are certainly not done yet, especially with the way that that round was decided very much at the very end of it, with that last second execute from the final 2 members of NIP.
Well, going to have the same face here for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and again, I don't know how many times we can talk about it, but you're more than likely going to see the same thing come out over and over again. Just depends on really what shows first for them to get aggressive on and take control of. And they've been using a lot of their air jabs to just lock down that initial area that they take, and that's exactly what you want. Make it a lot harder for people to rotate upstairs, because if you do, you're going to get knocked down, and it's a free kill for literally anyone, because you cannot shoot as long as you're picking yourself up in that animation. So, Ninjas in Pyjamas looking to close this one out. They only need 2 rounds to do so. Next one will be map point, and then they'll finally be able to take Villa if that is the case, though. Dining room, once again, going to get selected for Evil Geniuses, feeling like they might have done something wrong and could change something up to win this round.
Just a bit of an update, by the way, guys. If you don't want to know what's going on the secondary stream, just mute the stream for the next 20 seconds or so. But meanwhile, on our Bravo stream, we do at the moment have live. It is the new team stepping up from Japan, going up against G2 themselves. Cyclops taking on G2. And their match is live at the moment. So be sure to head over to our Bravo stream and check that out if by chance you're not interested in this one. It's currently a 3-0 lead.
On Villa. What do you know?
On Villa as well, yeah. So it's a little bit confusing for us at the moment, but we roll with it.
We do indeed roll. Canadian is 12-6. Is he back?
Is he? I don't know.
Is he back?
You would be the authority on that. You've been around that.
It's only one map. You can't call that. This is a group stage, first map of the entire tournament. I mean, if anything, again, we talked about earlier, or at least I talked about earlier, the chip on EG's shoulder, right? But I think of everyone on the team that has the biggest chip on their shoulder, it's going to be Canadian. I mean, again, we saw him at SI, how hyped up he was. They get knocked out in quarters by Rec. They go to Milan, they make it all the way to the finals. It's the first quarter they've been to, past quarter land that they've been to in so very long, and they end up losing out on some misplays on Oregon. You got to be headhunting at that point to try and get back and do it once again, right?
Absolutely. Certainly the first step needs to be here against NIP, and what a first step it will need to be as well. NIP, like we've seen throughout their defensive half and are now seeing on their attacking half, an incredibly aggressive team, very frag-focused on these rounds here, not necessarily playing into the utility as much as we've seen from teams like EG. And that makes for some really epic gameplay, and as we've seen, you know, against EG's case, some really hard-to-counter gameplay under a lot of circumstances.
Well, roam clear coming through for Ninjas and Pyjamas now. They started over here on the south balcony and worked their way across almost every single time. There's going to be 3 members upstairs for Evil Geniuses over in Astronomy near the trophy / statuary room split. Psycho now on drone, and seldom you see a drone getting manned by Ash is usually on the forefront of things, but is going to be able to recognize out that there is going to be a couple Legion mines upstairs as well. As longer Geo stays alive, the more effective these will be. Psycho takes down one of them. They're trying to gain access once again to the upstairs, get this vertical pressure going on. But Pino no longer on the buck. He is going to be on the IQ instead, which definitely will help out with the likes of Geo.
Still keeping watch for flanks, just in case EG tries to get a little bit tricky against NIP. For the most part, they've been playing pretty passive, to be completely honest, with mainly just Geo being the player to look towards as the one that's out in the open trying to catch guys early on. The Doc on NVK is going to get spotted. Unfortunately, no one from NIP necessarily in a position to counter that out. They're getting a lot of intel right now, though. Finding out where at least 2 players are, potentially more than that, as I would imagine there's other drone presence going around the map, too, that we didn't catch on camera. So at the moment, NIP with a good amount of intel, now they just need to execute upon it.
Yeah, Evil Geniuses has ghosted the upstairs as well. Showing face initially, then immediately vacating the area, making it for Ninjas and Pyjamas. Is going to waste a little bit of time, but not too much time to be wasted as they already have all of the angles established they need to shut down rotations in between the sites downstairs. Now they just need to apply the pressure downstairs, get that foothold, but we do have a roam, or at least, excuse me, a rotate coming through on main stairs. You see the 2 members of Evil Geniuses currently rotating through, but it seems like all these vertical angles right now could definitely get some people punished. Doc's going to take a little bit of damage. NVK trying to rotate away. Pino forcing the issue, but will find nothing up until this point where Pino will finally find the head of NVK and starts things off with the opening frag here with 30 seconds remaining. Still trying to play these vertical angles as every single piece of Evil Geniuses downstairs is hiding behind something. Doesn't want to get shot through just yet. I don't believe that he can find an angle through those boxes. Smoke going to get tagged up, but it's going to be Julio to finally put a pin in that one. 18 seconds left as the rotate needs to come through now. But there's so many air jabs, and that's really what Evil Geniuses has to worry about. All of these vertical angles punishing them. Quite a bit of damage done to Canadian now as well. As we are going to have the plank go down, but Gio's actually made his way upstairs. He takes down the man with the diffuser. Now they just have to play live and make sure nobody can possibly pick it up, but it's going to be an immediate trade back and forth. Gio still upstairs. No one's got the diffuser, though. It's going to be Evil Geniuses winning round number 9.
Geo just barely finds that diffuser's foot and kills him. Without that, that round is almost certainly going in the direction of NIP, but good stuff from Geo. The saving grace, the saving roamer that we'd love to see show up with that kind of prowess. Brings his team back into the fold once again. Now at 4-5. Rotation's been complete here for the most part for EG, so they're going to head back over to Aviation Games since it's now been unlocked for them. And this could be the point where they start. Like I said, there's always been that possibility for EG to swing it back, despite some of the dominance that we have been seeing from NIP throughout the course of this series. So now they're back into it once again, and they've got a chance to tie it back up. A 6-pick also going to be used by EG this time. They're going to bring the Pulse into the fold on Canadian. So if we end up seeing Nip tunnel vision and just go for straight upstairs control, that could be a bad straight for them. Depending on the way the Canadian tries to play his Pulse here.
Well, I mean, this is an operator he's known for. There's a reason that there's an Evil Geniuses skin on Pulse, and it's because of that man right there. Pulse is a operator that takes a little bit of finesse. We talk about a lot of operators and how it's, okay, you click a button and you gain something, right? Lion, so many operators, Jackal, there's a ton. But with Pulse, there's a certain finesse to using his kit properly. That cardiac sensor takes away all of your opportunity to be able to fire your weapon. But it also has one of the best uses in the entire game. You can see people through walls, and it helps out quite a bit, especially when used appropriately. And Canadian is one of the best in the business at it. Your timing on when you have your gun out and when you have that cardiac sensor out can literally spell the difference between a round and winning or losing, because you can get immediately aggressive on someone that was upstairs, you shoot them to the floor, they had no idea you were there. You're in a gunfight, you back off, you reload your gun, you cardiac sensor to see if the guy's still holding your staircase. You can literally dictate everything that you do through your cardiac sensor with Pulse, and you can help out your entire team with it as well. And that's used to be what was the mantle of Canadian with Pulse, is that he could dictate what his entire team did all around one utility.
So
Incredible
now,
stuff, by the way.
Yeah. So now we've got NIP starting to work their way in. A little bit of a split up from them. We're going to see them attack a few different angles here. You can see the two other players from NIP attacking towards Study, which is your kind of standard push. Oh, Psycho has an angle, but is a little bit timid to stay committed to it, just in case of some fire back, especially from the doorway. So he decides not to commit to that fight to try and find a kill against one of the members from EG lurking towards the main stairs.
All right, well, Mark's now going to be coming out, as that's going to be NVK, but he's getting assisted from main stairs as well with all of this pressure. Nobody want to peek this just yet. Quick pre-fire coming out, but NVK going to vacate the area. Continues to play main stairs. Canadian now tucked down inside of living room. Down on the floor, waiting for anyone to try and rotate through. He could come up huge to try and deny a plant later on. They don't have the Jackal anymore, which is possibly a massive misplay here if Canadian is allowed to stay alive downstairs.
Pino will also start to push his way forward here, still being assisted by the drone. They've got a bit of a wrap on this site, so they've got it pinched. Now they just need the right to initiate here, and unfortunately, without having dealt with a downstairs roaming presence, specifically from Canadian here, who is, oh, no. It's both of them, Canadian. Beautiful play, and that's exactly what we needed to see from him. Necrox also finds a third kill elsewhere on the map, and just like that, the entire attack from NIP has fallen to pieces.
NVK to tack on, it's Julio to fall, and once again, the saw is the law. That ult is so good, man. Muzi now, as you hear the air jabs go off, it's not going to matter. He still has 4 to 5. Canadian has fallen, but Muzi to find 4 and get a diffuser down. Doesn't even have the diffuser in hand, has less than a minute, and more than likely not a lot of intel.
Muzi just trying to clear out, re-clear, I guess you could say, everything upstairs here before he makes a last-ditched attempt to push in, hoping he can get lucky and EG are in bad positions, and then they can just leverage this into a 4v4. But you can see they even redistributed light reinforcements over towards the area at Statue to prevent him from having a clean walk. He's going to have to go all the way around into Trophy and then work his way out into the 90 hallway. Thankfully, there's actually not a whole lot of presence here from EG, but there doesn't really need to at this point. They've got all 4 stacked on the site. If Muzi walks in, he's pretty much a dead man.
Well, if he peeks his door, he might be able to find NVK behind the bar, but you have Young and Necrox both there. Necrox going to be forcing the smoke through the wall and forcing Muzi to rotate up. NVK going to be the first one with the gunfight here. Pre-fires through, but not going to find too much. Muzi's going to have to challenge again or rotate to the other door, and it's not going to matter either way. That's going to be 0-0 on the clock and an Evil Geniuses round to tie us up. And I can tell you, the way that we have things set up for this group stage, they are pretty far apart from where they're playing each other. But if Canadian does choose to get hyped up, he's definitely going to let them know it, even at that distance with the white noise headphones. That's one of the most hype guys I've seen inside of Rainbow Six Siege when things are going right.
Absolutely. Back over to Trophy and Statuary now, which, like I said, is a site that EG initially avoided, decided not to go for, and wanted to instead play downstairs into the living room. So EG trying out a couple things. That didn't really tend to work so well, but now that they've gone back onto their more standard sites, they seem to be taking good control of the second half so far, having tied it up at 5-5. With a potential to take the lead, as unfortunately, especially in the early game, NIP are just not finding the amount of impact that they were at the beginning of this half. It's fallen apart, and they're also falling victim to the roaming presence from EG now, specifically Canadian downstairs on that Pulse play.
The one time they don't bring a Jackal is the time that Canadians is like, hey, I got Pulse, cool. I'm just going to stay downstairs inside a living room. Not a single drone is going to cross across my screen, and I'm just going to get a free double kill Nitro Cell. You have to worry about vertical play, guys. This is a long-standing game. Vertical play is some of the most important in this entire game. It's where you get actually quite a few kills from. Obviously, a lot of horizontal kills happen, but vertical ones are the ones that you really don't even take damage from. You get a kill from underneath, a kill above. It's more or less a surprise play, and it establishes a lot of angles that not a lot of people are used to. Obviously, we have the ones that we are used to, like border with behind half wall, establishing that to watch the window downstairs. But verticality is still... trying to look for the best word to use for this. It's still kind of untapped because there's a lot of areas on maps that if you know the lineup, there might even be someone at a pro level that doesn't even know that. You know, it's truly something that is incredible, and we're going to have it yet again as Gio's going to actually pick up the pulse here on a 6-pick right into the Jackal and the IQ. So Gio not afraid of a fight.
Canadian, in the meantime, back over towards a Maestro instead, which was played by NVK in the last round, if memory serves me correctly. He's gone over towards the Jaeger, so EG changing up the roles at least a little bit. Canadian, in the meantime, though, absolutely destroying people in this matchup. 14-8 at the moment, the next highest teammate being 7-9. Not the only positive one, though. Necrox also has a 7-5 scoreline at the moment, so still some light to be seen on the rest of the team here, too, as they are quickly forging their way back into this map. After, at least at the end of the first half, it definitely looked like Nip was going to be able to run away with this. Not so much anymore.
Well, just spoiler alert. Please mute your stream. I will wait 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys, currently over on the Bravo stream, it's 4-1 in the hands of G2. They're just about to win round number 6 and make it a 5-1, and that's exactly what's going to happen. G2 with a flawless round in round number 6 as they are going to be switching sides to offense on Villa. So 5-1 at the split for G2 versus Cyclops, and it seems like they're taking things in pretty handed fashion.
So let's see if EG can keep it going, especially with that early round denial. Now that we have Gio jumping onto the poles, he's probably going to be a little bit more active with that presence. Gio is definitely known for that. He can get very aggressive and get away with a whole lot here, but I think he'll want to save himself at least to be able to utilize that Nitro Cell appropriately before he tries anything really crazy or hyper-aggressive to try and pick up kills.
You got to be worried for him here because one misstep means that that Jackal immediately has all the information in the world that he could possibly want. But instead of Pulse and Gio to fall, it's going to be NVK on the Jaeger falling to Julio once again. Julio has been such an incredible force for Ninjas in Pyjamas so far, and actually Psycho's been pretty quiet.
Very quiet, actually, now that we've entered the second half. Not seeing a whole lot from him just yet so far in this matchup. And specifically, he sits at the bottom of the scoreboard, 4-9. So very, very quiet indeed when compared to the rest of his team anyway.
Well, we do have a full rotation from Gio all the way downstairs. It takes a minute and a half for your footsteps to vacate where you were previously standing. So not going to be at that margin just yet. Excuse me. Oh,
good?
In the late round there, I don't really know what happened. It was like a halfway cough. Anyways, into the later round, his footsteps will be gone from that staircase, which means Psycho will not be able to get any read on him, and he's going to be safe. But again, you have to get downstairs wherever you want to roam in almost immediately. You have to throw up those reinforcements and just sprint there because you want your footsteps to be gone so that you cannot get tracked by Jackal.
So Pino, once again, looking for a right to initiate as he knows there's still a little bit of presence sitting behind him in the next room. Gio starting to work his way back up. He's going to get a little bit of presence on red stairs. We'll try to go for the Nitro Cell. Oh my goodness! Whoever is on the other side of that silhouette nearly actually running directly into the Nitro Cell instead of away from it, but still is able to avoid the damage regardless. Oh, and
Air
Gio
jab going to knock Gio back down the main stairs, and more than likely someone heard that, so they're going to have to try and rotate someone for Ninjas in Pyjamas to handle Gio. Otherwise, it's going to be free real estate, at least for him, on some kills on this flank. Trying to establish some more angles, holding down Astronomy Window as well as Psycho. They're looking for any foothold they can possibly get. Evil Genius's main backbone of the site has worked out pretty well so far. Pino lining the strengths won't be able to pick up Gio, as Necrox will now get knocked down as he has rotated. Young is the next one to fall, and all these air jabs bearing fruit, to say the least.
So much stronger execute this time, much better denial of the roaming presence too, as now they're going to be able to move in and try to squeeze out the last couple of players, and there you have it, NIP with a flawless round against EG on this attack. Finally some success here for NIP on their attacking side, which we haven't seen a whole lot of just yet. Now pushing them up to 6, I believe.
Well, the roam clear definitely has not been the best. So I don't really know what Evil Geniuses wants to do here. We are going to have a quick adjustment here as looks like we're going to have some people reconnect. So just give us a moment on that. But the only thing to really counter out those air jabs is either get initially aggressive right when they try and enter the building. You can always go that route, which a lot of the times, especially at this level of play, does not work. Or you can try and go for the heavy roam game and just distract them from other things. Only thing with that is you would have to play more nitro cells underneath because they have not really been dedicating anyone to that roam clear. I'm going to assume that's what the Dokkaebi ban was for Evil Geniuses. I'm going to assume when they do go for that roam clear that Ninjas in Pyjamas plays a lot of Doke or something along those lines, or Evil Geniuses just hates that operator. Because a lot of the times you're going to see that Jackal plan. That's what we've been seeing so far. So it's either, okay, we pick up some more nitro shells and try and get some more explosive kills underneath because Nip has been taking quite a while to try and get these entry points onto site, or you just try and turtle sight and win out those ACOG line of sight gunfights.
So once again, guys, we're just waiting for a few more players to reconnect. We've got guys disconnected from both teams at the moment, so we do apologize for that delay. We are working on getting them back into the game and continuing it in just a moment here. So now we reach a pivotal point. NIP does push up to 6 rounds, so 1 away from closing it out. However, they only have this 1 final round in order to close it out. Otherwise, it is going to end up on overtime again. If the players from EG are able to trade it back once more, pick up this 1 final defensive round, and take us to 6-6. Continuing the trend for overtimes, we've already seen quite a few of them today across both of our streams here so far on the initial series. We'll be continuing that trend, once again, showing us just how close this major is when it comes to those initial matchups, and overall with the 16 teams that we got here at LAN. Like you were saying at the beginning of the stream today, this is by far going to be one of the closest majors we have had yet in terms of competition.
Yeah, it's, again, no match you look at and go, okay, that's an absolute victory. Again, the only one that I could really think of throughout this entire day is like, okay, G2 is probably going to play very well against Cyclops. That's really the only thing that I could really look at and go, okay, this is a definite, you know? With that being said, though, again, spoiler alert, mute your stream. Okay, currently on Villa is G2 versus Cyclops. G2 is about to take the map 7-1. They're going into the last round right now, but so far they've been very, very competitive. Actually, some of the rounds have been very close. The scoreboard does not do the best due diligence for that. That last round was actually just a 1v1 between Goga as well as a member of Cyclops, which ended up getting one out in the end by G2.
All right, guys. Well, we finally unpaused this match, so we do apologize once again for the little bit of delay getting things started, but it looks like we are good to continue it. Or potentially find our winner for Villa if NIP can close it down in the next round. If not, we're going to go to OT, as EG has the potential to tie it up at 6-6 here as well.
All right, well, Dining Room Kitchen going to get picked up for Evil Geniuses once again. And last time we saw them go here, it ended up working out, but not before they failed it the time before. We saw a Canadian get pretty aggressive on some angles that were established upstairs with the buck of Pino, but Pino is going to be on IQ this time around. Looks like we are going to have 2 people now on Evil Geniuses above the stat line of 10 kills. So incredible stuff coming out from Canadian. We haven't seen a stat line like that from him in quite a while. So always good to see him back in form on LAN as of right now. But more of a spread out playstyle for Ninjas in Pyjamas, or more of a spread out effort, as they have all the kills spread out pretty evenly on their team. It seems like Evil Geniuses is sitting a little bit top-heavy right now, but the scoreline is definitely still close. No one indefinitely in the lead just yet. Evil Geniuses looking to push this to overtime. Ninjas in Pyjamas looking to get out of this one as fast as possible.
Well, let's see if NIP can get it done. Once again, focusing on the heavy anti-roam with both the Nomad and the Jackal being in the fold, something that I'm sure you guys should be used to by this point. And this is, you know, it's been working for the most part. EG really have not been able to leverage a whole lot of roaming presence throughout the course of this defensive half. They've had the most success for the most part when they've been sitting back and playing more passively, waiting into the site, and most importantly, forcing their opponents to make mistakes. Maybe a little bit of aggression here or there, but some direct contention this time from NVK knocks out Pino at the beginning of the round and deletes the IQ from the attacking side.
Well, it seems like Necrox wants to get aggressive. This is something we were talking about before. The only way to really counter this out is, okay, make sure that Muzi does not stay alive long enough to get these air jabs down. He's already got 2 down, though, and that's going to be the 3rd one up here on the red staircase. So now he's going to be setting his sights onto Statuary, trying to shut down this roam game, and it seems that Evil Genius, for the most part, has ghosted and rotated over towards Astronomy instead. Drone game now coming through, so Evil Geniuses will get recognized out. Necrox is going to take quite a bit of damage. They've already taken down Pino, though, upstairs. It's going to be Necrox actually rotating all the way downstairs with NVK, as they did drop the hatch.
So now that they've rotated back downstairs, we can go all the way back around to the other side. We're going to have a third
Attackers have located a
Tox go
bomb.
onto the ground here now for Geo.
There's 3 people downstairs currently.
Yeah.
Well, that were alive for a time being. Now MVK will fall to the likes of Julio on the red stairs.
Do they continue to expect more people to wrap back out for this, though? That's my question now. They found the 1 counter. Normally, you're only going to have 1 player max down there, so...
That is true, but there's plenty of air jabs to go around. So if you rotate wrong, then you're end up going to get knocked down and found out on exactly where you're rotating from. Muzi's going to get an aggressive up red hall now as he will hold the door to tarps. Still plenty of time left on the clock for the offense here as well. Stun grenades going through as Muzi's just going to wrap over towards the red stairs. Instead, Nitro Cell coming through is going to blow up in time. I don't believe that it's going to get the wall.
The top anyway.
Yeah, and it ended up getting stuck on that little piece of debris that was sitting on top of the wall. So, laundry wall will now be opened as all of the sightlines have now been established that NIP needs. They do also have the upstairs presence as well. Doesn't it seem that they have anyone upstairs except Psycho for right now, though?
Muzi's starting his push in, but he's going to get immediately denied by Necrox, who was also supported by another member of EG in the process of that, even if he did go down. Geo with a great angle outside of the window, slightly catches Julio as well. And now, down only 2 left here for the attacking side. Oh, I thought it was going to walk right into Necrox's angle, but it doesn't end up happening. Regardless, though, Kamikaze ended up losing Psycho a few seconds before, so 1 final shot from Young deletes Kamikaze, ties us up at 6-6, and sends us into overtime as EG pull off another defense downstairs in Kitchen.
Very impressive kitchen setup. They're actually completely vacate the upstairs, but it doesn't really seem like NIP is trying to lean too heavy on those vertical angles for that site. It's more or less getting them punished. They're playing into the cards that are dealt to them, and Evil Geniuses is just taking it to the house almost every single time. They only ended up faltering 1 time on their kitchen defense. The other 2 times ended up winning those out. And we are now going to be pushed to overtime, where Evil Geniuses will once again start on defense. Aviator Games Room allocated as well. They're only going to be rocking the Kaid. Doesn't look like they're going to be bringing a Bandit. No, they won't. We will have, though, Psycho switching over to Montang. And we have seen Ninjas in Pyjamas rock the Monty quite a few times in the past.
So let's see. This is a pretty drastic change in strategy overall for NIP to bring a Monty into the fold. They've been working with a pretty free-flowing execute and attacking side up until this point here. We've got NDK, who's really chasing Canadian's stat line here now, too. Also in double digits at 13 and 7. As Canadian has fallen down a little bit, still at 15 kills, which is impressive in its own regard, but NVK coming to help out with it a little bit as well. Meanwhile, for NIP, still trying to figure out exactly what works and what doesn't work on this attack. It was a very back and forth affair, much like our first half as well. So both teams still trying to fish this out. We're only going to have 3 rounds to do it now on OT.
5 seconds left.
All right, well, we have seen Geo with quite a good roam game so far. He's going to establish a black eye camera outside to try and give them some help on this study balcony. They're definitely going to need a lot of help with Psycho on this Monty. We've seen NIP, once again, run this quite a few times in the past, and they're pretty prolific with it. So you're going to be leaning on Necrox and really any Nitro so you can possibly get your hands on to get rid of that man or at least distract him. It's actually a very sad day when they did not run Legion for this setup. Montang once again getting 6-picked and not having that Legion, which hard counters all those shield players, is something you might look back on and really wish you had.
And so, now let's see if the Monty play is going to end up working out for all. NIP just quickly clearing out the astronomy side of the map, making sure Trophy Statuary is not going to have any reinforcements or any roamers set up amongst it in order to catch these guys on an execute. They won't indeed find anything here, so it's going to be all safe. That includes the downstairs area for the most part, as Pino does a little bit of a check there from the electronic scanner. Now they can start to push forward and start to bring their Montaigne into position as well, as it looks like he is going to be working his way in from the other side.
Muzi will go down. That's a massive pick as well. That's going to be the man that's always running the Nomad, so no more air jabs you really have to worry about except for ones that he might have set up. We did not get a count on his utility, so we don't know how many of those he has used. But for more than likely, he's set up 1. Might be on main stairs. We'll have to see exactly if it does get used or if we can hear the beeping at all.
Switching to shock. Brace for it.
Doesn't seem like we can hear it at least upstairs in study. Nope, not going to be anywhere. So Muzi is going to die with all of his utility unless there's one place somewhere that we have no idea, which can definitely happen. Looks like the main take, though, for Ninjas in Pyjamas is going to be study, as those evil eyes are dealing just a little bit of damage. Will get blown up finally, as Psycho did just get tagged up a little bit by the laser beams. So we'll start to motion down onto bar. Getting aggressive here as Kamikaze's trying to get the wall open. Seems like they're going for a little bit less of a rudimentary take.
So the run up here now from the Valkyrie, trying to get a kill, and it actually worked. Oh, what? Geo brute forcing his way into a kill against a Monte, and along with one additional player, absolutely destroys the NIP execute. Julio tries to retreat back over to main stairs, but NVK is waiting for that. EG absolutely destroys the Montaigne play and sets them up with the lead coming into OT.
Geo said, sir, please step to the side. I'm trying to kill your friend. Hold on. Okay.
Back of the line, please, sir.
Back of the line, please, sir. You're budging in line. Stop it. Shuts him down with the MPX and the Deagle. Again, the MPX isn't the best weapon in the world, but it can still get the job done. And just to put the icing on the cake, man, whips out the Deagle, removes the Monty as well. Evil Geniuses battling back.
Can't shoot through the shield, but you sure as heck can shoot over it, apparently. So that's exactly what we'll see him use right there.
What if you could actually just like extend your arms over the shield and shoot him right in his head? Just grab his shield.
Operator.
Bow.
The next operator has extendable arms.
It's Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, he can just reach his arms at right angles. He'll just die to corners from now on.
Wait till we get an operator that has one of those cameras on their gun where you can see around the corner.
Oh no!
It's just, all you see is a barrel and you just die.
Don't get them ideas.
Oh no! Ubisoft, please no! Stop!
You didn't hear that. Well, into the next round we go now. Map point for EG here if they can shut this one down. If not, if we do see the response come in from NIP now that they're finally back on defense, well, we go to a third and final round to settle who the winner of this one is going to be and who ultimately will take the 1-0 advantage in the series. Still, 2 more maps potentially to go between these two teams. Since we are at LAN, it is going to be best of 3.
10 seconds.
We'll have all the holes in the world set up to try and stop any thermites happening, and all those holes you guys see in the bottom of study. Somebody's going to play downstairs with either a pistol, or you really can use anything. Doesn't have to necessarily be a shotgun or anything. All you're going to do is you're going to play underneath, so when they put any of those exothermic charges on, either 1, you end up killing Young, or 2, you end up killing the exothermic charge.
So, continuing the play.
That works. You really can't see exactly what you want to see because you want to see that angle over by the vase on the balcony. But again, you can still see something, and Pino's seeing nothing but light because right now he's dead. So Geo with an immediate headshot, and again, Geo on land, ladies and gents, doesn't have a single stress in the world now. He has the visa, and he's taking it to Nip.
Continues to find that impact as well. Already very prevalent on defense, but we've seen it arguably more so on the attacking side so far in this map. Geo's been a little bit quieter, in my opinion, on the defensive side. Only getting, a kill or 2 every once in a while. NVK with the next pickup, though, puts EG back into an advantageous position by knocking out Julio. Down to a 3v4. You've only got just a few defenders left, and it's mainly roamers, too, as once again, we've seen Nip go for a very, very heavy roamer setup, trying to get aggressive against the EG roster, but at least if the last round is any indication, that hasn't really been working too well, especially after these initial picks are found against them. It seems that their players end up getting split up far too much and are not able to find the impact that's needed in order to tilt these rounds back into their favor.
The amount of time that Evil Geniuses will take to make sure that they have live information is fantastic. They get their initial picks, the initial engagement that we saw, especially with the likes of Geo getting that first kill. It was refragged eventually, well, excuse me, it was traded out eventually where the sledge fell, but now that we're back into more of a slump inside of active things going on, picking up those drones, trying to find active information is exactly what you want, and Evil Geniuses is doing a fantastic job of it so far. Both of these teams have been extremely aggressive throughout the entire map. I mean, you guys can see Canadian all the way off on practically an island going inside of Master Bedroom right now, recognizing out that, hey, at this point in time, they've more than likely rotated everyone back to site, so I'm going to try and get another point of attack going on. They think that we're just going to prioritize study. That's not the case. We're going to try and get some pressure other places. Oh, NVK gets absolutely rocked by Muzi on main stairs.
Got the rest of the team working their way forward here too. Young looking for a pickup on his own regard, as EG has moved in, and suddenly with that loss of an additional player, they're not in the best position anymore, but they should have uninterrupted access to pop this wall open. As far as I know, there's no way to trick that from the other side at the moment. They are going to send they're actually going to use it as a bait as they run in with the explosion. Geo and Psycho trading blows. Psycho with 2, though, brings it all into Young's hands after he knocks out Geo. Young going up against both Muzi and Psycho to try and clutch this back out. He does it with the diffuser in hand. He can fall back, try to plant this by bar. They shouldn't be able to push him from the flank. It's only really from aviation that they have angles on him right now. The plant is going to go down, but now how close are his opponents? Backs up and he gets away with that too. They had angles, they're so close, but no! Young's given the angle. Thankfully, Psycho is there to trade it back just a moment later though. And we will see NIP continue to fight as they just barely clutch this out in the 2v1 and bring us to 7-7.
Defenders win.
Max overtime on the first map of the series. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. This is Raleigh day one, Blue, and we've already had so many incredible matchups, especially over here on the main channel. If you guys didn't know, we also are rocking the G2 versus Cyclops game over on twitch.tv/Rainbow6 Bravo. Make sure you guys have that up as well if you guys want all the Siege action. If you're somebody that enjoys watching those later and likes focusing on the main game that's happening right now, you can always go back through VODs and watch it at a later point. And we will give you spoiler alerts when we do talk about those scores, because they do pop them up at the bottom of the little ticker in between maps and everything else. So just to make you aware, those will be at the bottom of the ticker as well. So watch yourself if you're somebody that does not want to be spoiled on what happens in the match.
All right, guys, well, let's get into it once again. Another opportunity for both of these teams to close out. This time, though, NIP battling back into it. They'll have to go back on the attack this time. Evil Geniuses goes back to defense, and we'll choose to play in Trophy Statuary for the final round of the opening map of the series. Let's take a look and see what exactly EG have to offer us here. But starting to get more and more confident on their defensive plays, whereas it seems NIP has been spreading themselves far too thin, and their anti-roam capability is just not finding its impact. NVK Canadian with 30 kills between the two of them at the moment.
That's a feat. Especially for Canadian. Like that, with how he's been playing more or less on that supporting side, except for the offense where he's been more on the flank rotations, trying to cut things off. It's Canadian being Canadian. I mean, that's really the only thing you can really say about that man. He does his own thing, but he's able to find a lot of success when he's in the right headspace, and it seems like he's there right now. So max OT between these two teams. Whoever wins this round will take map number one. We do not have infinite overtime up until the best of 5 that's on the main stage Sunday. So quite a bit of time up until we have that infinite OT rounds. But for right now, inside of group stage, guys, it is the routine, okay, best of 3 for the overtimes. Best of 3 rounds, excuse me.
Yep. So let's see which team will come out on top of that one and take the lead in the series here. Potential to close out going into the second map, too. This is EG's own map pick. The second is coming up right after this one, and it will be NIP's pick. And we'll see how exactly they're able to fare better or potentially worse going on to that second map, as this one's been neck and neck. Both teams trading blows and showcasing their own series of successes and issues throughout the course of these 14 rounds so far.
Grab the drone, straight shot.
Well, Psycho getting aggressive through Aviator. Right now, Ninjas of Pyjamas still trying to find any roam presence of Evil Geniuses, but coming up short so far. Quite a bit of drone action going on as well as they do continue their search, but it seems that most of Evil Geniuses has been poised on site. You do see 2 people downstairs, one in Tarbs, one inside of Kitchen. It's going to be Mozzie as well as Geo.
ADS up and running. Scanning for devices.
Necrox lurking around here. He might get spotted. No, never mind. It's not looking like the drone is going to be able to catch it. However, Necrox could steal that drone away if he still has any pests left. Could find some use from a Twitch drone.
This is slow and steady. Very, very slow and steady. Nobody wants to give up this map. Each of them on the tipping point so far. Seems that Ninjas and Pyjamas doesn't even want to take the proper angle. They're waiting for Evil Geniuses to get a little bit too aggressive. Geo's going to be able to trade out Pino, though. It's going to be exactly what's needed. The IQ will fall. They won't have Necrox anymore, but those pests will still stay on the field. So can still possibly get some free information. Canadian getting aggressive on the angle for Statuary. This could be a pre-fire line in wait for him. And VK lining the straights inside of Master Bedroom as well. So Castle Barricade will get popped open. Does hear someone drop as well. That's going to be the Thermite in the hands of Kamikaze. Still waiting on the rotations now, as it seems like Closet will get picked up by Ninjas and Pyjamas. No, he will be rotating back. Canadian's going to get aggressive, though, on the wall. He's going to get traded immediately by Muzi. It seems to be the trade game so far. MVK trying to find a head inside of Master, but he comes up short.
And so, into a 3v3 now. NIP heavily injured, however, especially when you look at Julio and Muzi trying to survive this. Caping to peek into that window, too, trying to constantly contest against NVK. It's so hard to knock him out. They don't really have the nades to flush him out either, and they can't get that bathroom window, which would lead to an easy kill. So unless they've got a way to pop that and force him out of position, he's going to waste so much time. And even if he goes down without a kill, it doesn't matter, because there you go. Immediately the trade comes in from Geo right after NVK is dealt with. Kamikaze the one to strike it, but Julio is the one that falls in the trade. Now into a 2v2 with 17 seconds left here. We need to see the push from NIP, but they just don't have room to do it. Geo shuts out Kamikaze on an easy pick, and now we're down to only one. Muzi, who also gets shut out by Geo, as Evil Geniuses shut it down on the final round of the map and take control of their own map pick on the series.
8-7 on Villa. Incredible matchup between these two teams, and I don't want to call it too early, but Canadian seems to be back in form. I mean, that was a truly incredible showing by him, getting aggressive at the proper times, picking up a lot of frags that were impactful. It's not just a number next to his name that matters, folks. The man had 16 kills. 16 kills across that entire map.
Was they were saying about one map earlier?
Yeah, I know. But dude,
We'll see how maps number 2 and 3 go.
again, if he continues with that throughout this, then you really have to look at
Absolutely.
go, okay, he's definitely improved from Milan. Because if you guys didn't know, Milan's statistics for Canadian were abysmal. They were truly atrocious. I'll get them up here in just a second so we can talk about them when we get brought back. But we will be sending it to a very short break, guys. So just enough for you guys to go to the bathroom, grab a new drink, and then get tucked back in for some Evil Geniuses versus Ninjas in Pajama action.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. So do stick with us. We're coming back to you in just a couple minutes here with the second map, potentially the final map between EG and NIP, right here at the 6 Major Rally.
5 seconds left. Remaining. Drop the bomb.
Clear.
Reload.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Rainbow Six Major Rally. It is time to go into our second map now between Evil Geniuses and NIP. It's opening day here at Raleigh, so no eliminations are on the line just yet, but it is still very important as it dictates the path these teams will go through over the next 2 days on both Tuesday and Wednesday as well. EG currently leads the charge after falling behind 2-4 on the opening half of their own map pick Villa, bringing it back to a tie at the end of the second half and eventually taking control on the final round at 8-7, ending overtime in their favor.
Yeah, it seemed like Ninjas and Pyjamas was going to walk away with Villa there for just a second, but Evil Geniuses, as you said, able to battle back in impressive fashion. Well, granted, it was at max OT, and it seemed like they were not going to have an answer for the likes of Pino on that Nomad, but they finally found their footing, were able to make something of it.
And so now we will continue to see if they can keep that impact rolling into our second map. It's going to be going on to Consulate, another very structured map, in my opinion, at the end of the day, where I personally don't think that NIP are going to be able to get away with a lot of the stuff they were doing back in the first map on this one, especially from a defensive perspective. On the attacking side, there's still room for it, but I think that this map, obviously, considering the fact that it's been around for far, far longer than the first map, it's going to make EG a lot easier to try and counter out some of the more aggressive moves that we may or may not see from NIP going into Consulate.
I meant Muzi on the Nomad, by the way, Chad.
Oh, okay.
Don't set me on fire just yet.
They were changing it around a bunch, so
No,
really
Muzi is literally like the only constant on that offense. Is always on Nomad. That's it. Like everyone else is like, okay, you take this up, you take this up, you take this up.
Yeah.
Which obviously is a lot of fun, and it obviously proves how much prowess they have at this game to be able to switch to any operator and enact it the same way that their teammates would. But again, the only constant we have is Nomad on offense and the likes of Muzi. Everything else is practically just a carousel.
Absolutely. So we'll see. I'm guessing that specific factor of NIP's both defense and offense is going to continue going into the second map. No reason why it wouldn't, but like I said before, it's the aggression that's either going to have to get toned down or changed drastically. As like I said before, it's a much more played out map at the end of the day, and I think EG will be much more prepared for anything that NIP will try to throw at them on a map like Consulate compared to Villa. It is, however, NIP's map pick, and heading into it, EG will still have to be wary for what they might throw out onto the table. NIP still showing a lot of aggressive prowess in that matchup, specifically from guys like Muzi. Psycho actually going relatively quiet from what we had seen in the past from him.
It was the Julio show.
Yeah, it was Julio really that found most of the impact there, with everyone else, Muzi, Pino, Kamikaze every once in a while too, stepping in every couple of rounds or so. But Julio, by far, the most consistent, the rock of the team, if you will.
Yeah, well, we are going to have our second map as Consulate, so with that being said, this should be a pretty interesting showing between these two, especially on Consulate, how both teams were handling Villa, and NIP's ability to shut down the roam game is definitely going to be tested on Consulate, especially with the likes of Pulse. More than likely, we're going to see a Pulse ban out from Ninjas and Pyjamas, because if you don't, Consulate all of a sudden gets extremely dangerous to even step foot inside of the building.
Yeah. It becomes incredibly difficult for your opponents to try and work, or for you, I guess you could say, to try and work anything off of that if you're caught relatively early. Not only that, too, but these sites tend to be much more easy for teams to kind of hunker down on and hold just the site when kind of ignoring roaming presence. So we sometimes will see teams play into a much more passive style, and it works relatively often, which is something that you can't always say in today's meta necessarily with Siege, which is becoming very, very aggressive very quickly, especially after some of the success we saw from teams like Empire and Rec back at Invite a few months ago.
I love the new ticker that we put at the bottom of the stream for in between these matches. The game against G2 is only Cyclops' 4th ever LAN match and their first one internationally.
Yep.
Very interesting stuff. Again, shout out to the guys over at CSGG that are working with that.
So we are still working on getting, I think, 1 or 2 players from NIP settled, by the way, folks, if you're wondering what the delay is with getting the match started. As usual, we do apologize for that. We're working on fixing it as quickly as we can and then starting out the second map here to see if indeed EG can get a quick closeout to start the day after a bit of a bumpy road there, at least when it comes to their attacking side over on Villa. Now it's time to see if the same issues will surface or if things will look a little bit cleaner on their opponent's map pick for Consulate, a map that we actually haven't seen yet here on the main stream today.
No, I haven't seen it just yet, but I can almost guarantee you we're going to see every single map over the weekend. Again,
well, yeah.
Only a 7-map map pool. There's not going to be the one that everyone's just like, nah, we're not playing Bank today or something along those lines. We're going to see every single one of them. I think we're actually very close right now.
Yeah, we've already seen quite a few on because we've had, the second stream has also had Coastline get played at least once.
Bank played as well.
Yeah, they've had Bank get played. They're on Cafe right now. We already had a Cafe match earlier, though, so I think we've already actually almost got all 7 maps for the most part. We've had a Clubhouse match, too. I think we might have already had all 7.
I think, well, this will be the last one when you just need Consulate.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. There you go. So we've gotten through it, folks, already. Just in the first day, we've had all 7 maps.
Don't do math on stream. Remember,
it's very difficult.
don't do math on stream. For some reason, all of your math prowess just goes out the window if you say it on a camera. You could literally be like a straight A student. You say it in front of thousands of people. It just all of a sudden flies out the window. You're just like 2 + 2 = 7. Like that's, and you just say it with confidence and roll on with your day.
Yeah, well, you have to say everything with confidence.
Yeah,
right?
As a caster, we might say some
even when you're wrong,
dumb stuff. You have to say it with confidence because otherwise people are like, does he actually know what he's talking about?
Yeah.
And then you have the people that are just like, no, he doesn't.
Nobody likes a guesser.
Yeah, nobody likes a guesser. Even
like
when you're wrong, you're right. Remember that.
All right, buddy. Well, we've got everyone in the server now. Some of the teams are messed up in the lobby, so we're working on fixing that, guys. And then we should hopefully be able to get started with this Consulate matchup and see if indeed the prowess from EG that we saw, specifically from Canadian, who, like you said, had a great resurgence, at least based on the last LAN, to be fair. Yeah, for one map. And as well, it's been a few months since Milan at this point, so a lot of time between them. The Canadian could have worked on things, but like I said, we're judging a little bit early based on one map. That's part of the factors going into the second map, though, is if we will see that continued strength from him and players like NVK, who also started to step up throughout the course of the matchup.
It doesn't really matter just yet, right? It matters when he plays Team Empire in G2, right? That's when it really matters?
I guess so.
If he actually does something? Okay.
That's very true.
That's what Reddit will say. They'll just be like, oh, he didn't do it against G2. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter against LATAM. Those guys just run out and stuff. They play really aggressive and stuff.
I mean, hey, it works. He got really, really close there, man. Really, really close. I'm very happy with how well Julio did. I was very impressed by that. Because a lot of the times, it is just the Psycho show. That's what a lot of people think it is, but it's not. They have a lot of very prolific players on their team, especially in the likes of Julio.
Yeah, that's how we actually need to see step up a little bit as Psycho, because we know him as like almost the hard carry in certain situations for his team.
He's been that for a lot of his team.
Yeah, and bringing out like these impressive individual plays. We didn't see that at all on Villa. He was completely absent. Only got like I think 5 or 6 kills in the entire map right there. So had a very quiet game. Hopefully we see that improve now that they're going onto their own map pick on a Consulate. Hoping things were just a little bit unfamiliar for him on Villa, having to play into that map, potentially maybe a map he's not too confident on or something like that.
Yeah, we actually had some pretty incredible showings all across the board on both sides. I would say the most top-heavy one was obviously Evil Geniuses, where we saw MBK and Canadian both have 15 kills. So, again, if you guys thought that Nate wasn't here to play either, NVK is also here, and the man can definitely still use a mouse and a keyboard.
Other player as well that's had some bumpy, know, areas in the past. I think towards the end of 2018, we started to see that with him, where he was struggling a little bit, but definitely improved it leading up to his invite, and has stayed consistent since then. But there is that shadow of a doubt that those issues could pop up once again, as these are issues that players deal with on a very personal level and have to try and work their way through over months at a time. NVK, for the most part, got over his now. It seems like Canadian is also potentially trying to get over that based on the performance from just one map, though, which has a huge caveat attached onto it still, as we have to wait and see how it pans out over the next 2 maps and the rest of this group stage, too.
Yeah, it's very easy being your own biggest critic inside of your bedroom, but then when you come into a main stage at a major and everyone's eyes on you, that's when everything matters, and it's not just you, it's everyone watching. So that's always something you have to get over. Obviously, NVK has been playing at the top of the spectrum of Siege for an extremely long time, but still, sometimes you get inside your own head, especially when it's always just someone trying to knock you down another peg, knock you down another peg, and knock you down another peg.
Absolutely the case. So EG has been fighting through that for quite some time now, as it's been years at this point since we've seen an actual win on land for these guys. So they're once
2017.
Yep, very end of it. Or actually, it was like early 2017, wasn't it?
I believe so.
I'll
Wikipedia it just to make sure, because I don't want to say the incorrect date. I have what I think it is in my head, but always safer to check, especially for those young Wikipedia gods in chat.
Are they EG fans?
We
don't want to make you guys angry.
We love you guys.
We're making sure that's correct. But yeah, EG once again looking for success, which has been so difficult for them to grasp. You talked about the Milan upset earlier, where they came so very close, but fell short through very unfortunate circumstances on Oregon, and then dropped the ball against Empire on their best map by far, which is going to be Clubhouse. A trend that we've continued to see even in their first match of the day, too. So EG once again looking to try and get a hand on that trophy here at Raleigh. much like many other teams, all 15 of our other teams here, they are looking to grab hold of a championship to take home with them. And Stokes has the results now. When was the last time we saw a win on land from EG?
It was the 6 Invitational 2017.
So nearly 3 years now.
February 5th of 2017. And it was up against Era.
About 2.5 years ago.
And they weren't even Evil Geniuses at the time. They were Continuum.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's been quite some time. Hasn't been enough time. That's the thing. Or are some of these new gods going to step up to the table? We've already seen some good stuff from guys like TSM and whatnot showing up earlier in the day as well. Got a lot of young players. Fours coming in with the new Russian roster led by Shockwave, of course.
That's going to be very interesting.
Which, like, just with the way they play, which I'm really interested to see how their opening match goes. Because at least based on the qualifier, they played by far some of the most aggressive Siege I have seen.
Yeah, but again, you also have to have that one little peg in there, which is Vitality did have a little bit of a mishap with their internet connection, which forced them not to be able to play. So it's not, obviously, I'm not saying that Force does not deserve this, but I'm saying I really, really wish we would have got to see that matchup online.
All right, guys. Well, here we go into the second map now. It's time to see if EG can close it out here, or if a third map is on the cards to settle the result of our second best of 3 for the mainstream today. It is going to be going over to Consulate. Our first bans are up on the table now. Capital, the first one to get knocked out. Not much of a surprise there. That's the
would have never have guessed.
Umpteenth time he's been banned just today. So
wonder why. Thatcher is going to get removed from Ninjas and Pyjamas, and Nips on offense.
Which that's an interesting one to throw at as the offending team.
It is indeed an interesting one because you have to start off with that massive detriment. Again, we've talked about before how effective Thatcher is, and he has arguably one of the best kits in all of Siege. Those EMPs are insane, and he's obviously a linchpin in a lot of people's offensive lineups. So we are going to have Echo and Mira removed as the last 2 operators, and again, Mira, you don't have to ban on Consulate, but she's still good. She's good on every single map because she's Mira.
Yep.
She just kills you in Spanish.
And this means that Cade is probably going to be, in my opinion, pretty prevalent as well because he's pretty much, unless you're using
the map, really. I mean, no, it depends on the map. Excuse me. It depends on the site.
Yeah. Because it's also going to give nearly undeniable access to blocking off those hatches. The only way you're really going to be able to get around that at this point is a Maverick play. So using that, obviously you've got a lot more potential for blockage and delay against them. We're going to... Wow.
Okay.
That's an interesting 6-pick,
yeah, we're going to 6-pick away from Smoke to Bandit. All right, Young. I see you.
Well, trying to make it look like they're going to leave the site soft, or at least softer than you might expect for a typical defense, but not the case. So either way, it's not really going to impact the playstyle from NIP too much, having to realize that, okay, there is tripwires this time, as they wouldn't have had a way to deal with them regardless due to the lack of a Thatcher, since he's been banned out, of course. Let's see how exactly EG is going to pan this out. Once again, you've got quite a few potential roaming operators on the team right here, including the Doc on Necroc. They really want to try to get that aggressive, so let's see how EG want to play this, as they're starting out in basement, if you haven't already figured that out.
All right, well,
10 seconds.
starting down on basement once again here is... have done the Maestro as well in the hands of NVK. We've kind of seen this mantle get shifted around to quite a few hands on the defense so far. It's mostly been played by Canadian, though, and he was doing a bang-up job on Villa of really showing exactly how powerful the kit of Maestro is. But Ninjas and Pyjamas, as of right now, are going to have to try and prioritize this mid-floor take. They don't have a Thatcher to try and get rid of any of the Bandit batteries that Young currently has on Garage. So this means they're going to declare top floor, mid-floor, get the piano floor opened, and then all of a sudden, they now have some access. But it might take them a while. They do have Julio once again on the Jackal, and they have Muzi now on the Ash instead of Psycho.
So Muzi already having worked his way in.
Psycho's actually playing the Nomad. They've just given it over.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that they said, okay, Muzi's having more of a hot hand than Psycho is right now. Let's give Muzi something that has a little bit more frag potential, and you don't have to lean as much on to that utility, and give the utility-based operator over to Psycho.
Not a huge deficit if he ends up going down in this instance here. So Psycho going to be able to, obviously since he's had a much quieter opening map, Psycho going to be much better suited to fill out the utility. And Nomad still can frag at the end of the day. I think her gun's pretty capable in a gunfight, so still has that capability once all 3 of the air jabs have been deployed.
Well, as we've seen with Consulate, especially in recent history, it is so very roam heavy. There's so many staircases you can rotate up, which means that air jabs are going to be a very big deal. They're still all the way upstairs, though. They haven't gained any pressure on that mid floor just yet. They do have some footprints to be able to jackal track, and that is going to be, I really don't know, because he turned his headset off. Julio, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. But nonetheless, that man is going to be all the way downstairs.
And so, with control for NIP, or at least a little bit to work off of, they are going to start to push their way towards the site. We've got Evil Geniuses, though, still locked down, still very much secure in the basement here, without much penetration having come in at this point from NIP. A little bit of focus on yellow stairs from Julio, trying to work his way in. The rest of the team is still clearing out the second floor as well. With just under a minute left, they are going to have to move away from that. As you can see now, the main group starting to move downstairs into the main floor, and eventually trying to take control. Tellers still has players on the inside of it, though. That's the ones on the main floor, and Canadian going to be able to sneak off a kill on Pino as a result of that. We do see an impact picked up here, but Canadian can no longer hide, unfortunately. He's going to get approached on by Muzi, who trades him back out and brings us into a 4v4.
All he needed was that kill onto Pino, and all of a sudden, this wall has become something that you can't gain access to. Kamikaze's actually waiting. I think they're going to have Julio rotate over and break open the top with his secondary shotgun. That's exactly what they're going to do, as they're trying to get this open. Psycho will break open the hatches to try and drop down to the server room, but it's not going to matter just yet. Only 20 seconds remain. Still plenty of utility on both sides of the coin, but MVK going to be playing that long angle as he's going to click the head off of Kamikaze's shoulders, and soon enough, Ninjas of Pyjamas starts to fall apart. They do still have presence on yellow, but he's going to rotate up. He has to try and pick up the diffuser and force his way onto site. Gio, though, will trade things out onto Julio, and this diffuser will not get picked up.
So EG close it down primarily through a delay, and are able to pick up the opening round now against NIP. Great stuff from them. They're going to take solid control and overall NIP. Even though they do get the garage open, it's not really too well maintained. They don't really have any people to push it with them. On top of all the other issues they suffer with trying to take care of Canadian sitting on the inside of Tellers, delayed them far too much, did not leave them enough time to come up with an actual plan for the execute. And as a result, EG shut it down quite handily with some nice one-taps coming in from NVK as well.
All right, well, lobby defense getting picked up for Evil Geniuses, not going upstairs just yet, and actually you've seen that became more of a thing with quite a few teams. They don't really favor that console office defense, mainly because it's pretty played out at this point. A lot of people just go for the admin take, clear across through copy, use your Habana pellets, put them onto the back of the projector wall, open a projector, kill the smoke that plays inside of there, bada bing, bada boom, you have a round win.
And so moving into this next round, we're going to have to see if EG can keep up with that same pacing, if EG is going to be able to continue
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many
to waste
bombs
the
as they
time.
can.
And not even really with much roaming presence, to be honest. That was mainly NIP just kind of wasting a lot of time on the second floor here, not able to take a whole lot of a fight, but just spending a lot of time clearing things out. And then eventually having to deal with the pressure downstairs. So EG, like I said before, barely really aggressed themselves, mainly just postured, showed themselves, showed positioning, and then bailed out a few seconds later. And NIP just gave way too much respect to that, in my opinion. Wasted a lot of time, and then the one player that actually did serve as a roaming presence to stop their push, Canadian, well, picked up one kill, wasted an additional 20 seconds or so in the process of trying to trade him. That made it a very straightforward affair from that point forward, as unfortunately NIP just did not have any time to actually execute. So interestingly enough, we're not going to go directly upstairs for the second round. EG's going to try lobby along with the press room / piano room first before they potentially head upstairs for their third site. See if they can get this slightly more difficult site out of the way.
All right, well, plenty of top presence here from Evil Geniuses as Necrox is trying to hold down things on yellow, which is going to be the crux of this entire map. If you're able to hold down yellow staircase, you're in a pretty good seat to try and win that round. Plenty of destruction, though, onto the drone capability so far, as NVK will take quite a bit of damage. Still boarding up things 30, or actually 40 seconds now into the round is Evil Geniuses, as most of the bathroom wall has been ripped to pieces. Mozzie will get a drone, actually, as Young will be able to claim at least one, and they've already destroyed quite a few drones as well. So this is looking very good for the drone economy, at least on Evil Geniuses. And Ninjas in Pyjamas might not be able to get as much information as needed to try and win this round. Young looking for a hop out now, but I believe the man is upside down, just waiting for Young to try and commit. Yep, just waiting.
Also nearby this one too, so be very dangerous for Young to try and take a challenge there. It's not going to end up doing it. It's going to sit stalwart on the angle, continue to wait for NIP to make the first move. That's the right play. NIP same as EG, to be completely honest, have been really good at punishing aggression for the defenders. NIP bit into it way more on the first map. That's how EG got ahead in quite a few rounds. This time, though, it's Geo with a nice pick, wrapping back over towards the server stairs, runs up top to the top floor, and manages to just barely find the head of Muzi and pick him off.
Oh, Young now sitting down by circle desk inside of lobby, just waiting for any pressure from upstairs from the hatch for them to come through the connector. Is worried about someone coming up basement spiral, and he should be, as it will be Psycho trying to rotate his way up. I don't think that they know that MBK is playing the mid-level, though. Don't have any presence on benches. It's going to be a quick peek, but that timing right there, as we've grown to know and love inside of Siege, either makes or breaks every single round. And Psycho will continue to be able to play out this round since he did not peek out towards lobby.
Canadian starts us off once again with another pick this time. Julio's there for a trade, but it's not making up for enough at this point, unfortunately. Only down into a 3v2. If EG gets this next kill onto the player over by Yellow Stairs, Necroc specifically also trying to help out with this one. It's going to be all but over at this point. Still 33 seconds to play with. It's a miracle that Pino's actually still alive right now. He's got a tiny sliver of HP left. Julio's still at full HP, so he kind of has to lead the charge for his team right now. Look for the win will knock out Pino. There he goes. He goes down, and now all on Julio. Able to trade for one, but he's got 2 more players to knock out, and he no longer has control over the diffuser either. It's sitting right upstairs. Only 12 seconds remaining to Julio. This is just not a winning situation for him, unfortunately.
No, doesn't have enough time, has no means to try and kill Geo upstairs either. Diffuser practically on an island. Julio cannot swim.
So EG claim round number 2. Solid defense put up by them once again. Not really a whole lot of aggression until that last minute or so, when they know that they're going to start prepping for an execute and won't be watching the roaming presence as much. So as a result of that one, they shut it down. Catch quite a few members of NIP unawares of their own aggression, and take solid control of a second round now to push them ahead and force themselves up to console and meeting room.
Well, seems like Evil Geniuses definitely still has it on Consulate. Ninjas and Pyjamas is their map choice, but they really haven't been able to formulate anything on offense just yet, and I really feel like it just is this Thatcher ban. If they had the ability to get hard destruction down easily, I feel like this map might be at least 1-1 now. I feel like it would have made Garage a lot easier for them, but it just seemed like they found Piano at way too late into the round and punished them quite a bit.
Yeah, not to mention as well that like EG hasn't been running a Cade or anything like that, so hatch denial hasn't really been a problem for these guys. For the most part, hatches have actually been left open for them in certain situations too, like leading to the basement and whatnot. So that hasn't been as much of a problem as you might expect, but not being able to knock down these walls has left them with very limited options for the execute, and unfortunately seems to be affecting them quite adversely. It's early round, really, though, where we're just not seeing much progress being made by NIP. Yeah, they'll clear out one floor, but it's usually the wrong floor that they need to clear out. It just gives them more staging ground than anything else. And then they're never really able to push it any further than that. By the time they do, that's when EG finally starts to get a lot more aggressive and actually start hunting for kills against them, since they only have about a minute or so left at that point.
Yeah, Evil Geniuses is playing this to a T right now up against Ninjas and Pyjamas, as you said. They've bided a lot of time. They do get that initial pressure, but Evil Geniuses quickly whisks that away, and seems like right now Ninjas and Pyjamas really doesn't have the answer. They switched off the Jackal now. They now have Pino over on Buck, as well as they've allocated for the, Habana instead of the Thermite.
So we've got Kamikaze right over here by Yellow Stairs, preparing to move in, just clearing it out with the drone real quick. So they'll try to route down potentially through the basement first, then work their way over with a little bit more control. So unfortunately, basement's probably not going to be the best room for these guys to work with, but if it gives them some kind of staging ground, some kind of execute potential against the setup from EG, they might as well take it. Geo still out and roaming around, causing problems with those goo mines that are going to be thrown onto the ground. But unfortunately, not able to find much in the way of kills just yet. That's going to start to change soon, though. Oh no! He's going to end up running right into an air jab. That could lead to his death. Psycho, though, doesn't really seem to get a good idea as to where exactly Necrox is positioned. So, Necrox saving Geo's life and helping him out there a little bit, but picking up the kill against Psycho, once again, gives EG the early 5v4 advantage.
Yeah, very poised right now with some quick shots from Necrox as he rotates through Locker's hallway. Not going to meet any of the body of Kamikaze, but it's not going to matter. Just showing face and letting him know, hey, we still have presence here. As actually, no, it's going to be Necrox on Yell, but Young is tacking on. Toxic Bay, War Ring True's MBK will fall. That's going to be NVK inside of Console. Diffuser's actually down as well. Did he swing inside? Is that inside of Console? I believe it is. It should be inside of the console office. Wait, where is it? Yes, it's inside of the console office. Ash just swung through. Muzi just swung through the window.
With diffuser.
I don't believe that he knew that he had diffuser, I'm going to assume. Canadian runs out front door. Julio falls.
I mean, this runs over.
It's all up to Pino. It's very, very weird to just have one random man all of a sudden get aggressive when you don't have yellow control.
He was also only the second man dead, as far as I remember, too.
That's very, very interesting because they don't have any yellow presence. They didn't have connector dealt with. That's just a very easy kill. You know what might have even happened? He might have just accidentally hit his spacebar and got sent through the window. That could definitely have happened. It's happened before, definitely could have happened again, but this is not going to be an easy round for Pino at all. Every single entry into this site has been swarmed by evil geniuses, and there's definitely no way he's going to fight his way out of this one.
Yeah, no way to win this, unfortunately. Can't even get upstairs, let alone actually get to the diffuser and start to plant. They've got every angle on watch for the most part. I think the only staircase you can go up of uncontested would have been over towards server, but even there, the second he wraps around the corner, you can see Canadian was waiting for it. He's instead going to go up spiral and walk into a crossfire. It's not actually established as a crossfire yet, but regardless, Necrox picks him off the second he sees him anyway, and EG win yet another round solidly. You know, multiple players still standing, a good 3-4 left alive at the end of the round. That's been consistent for them now over pretty much all three of these rounds. They're continuing to dominate now at a 3-0 lead.
Fantastic showing so far on this defensive half, and now they get to go back through their full site rotation. So going to be starting back downstairs, and we still have not seen a single Kaid picked up by evil geniuses, which is always a favorite to be played when Thatcher is banned out. Gridlock will get picked up by Julio. This is exactly what they've needed. They needed to be able to shut down this rotation game that evil geniuses has had so far, because it's punishing Nip so much. Again, a little bit of a misplay. I would be very interested to see what happened with that Ash the last round, because that was really the tail of the tape for the entire last round, is that the diffuser was just all of a sudden in console. They have to try and fight all the way up through literally every single body EG has to offer to try and even get the diffuser back.
I'm not super confident that the switch over towards a gridlock is actually going to help NIP, or excuse me, is going to help NIP under these circumstances.
They got the duo though.
Yeah, well that's the thing, right? Is they already had Nomad, who fulfills pretty much the same exact role in my opinion, or a very similar role, if anything.
If anything, it just provides more lockdown because they can now use like Nomads on windows and front doors and stuff like that.
I guess it's doubling down on something that currently isn't working in hopes that they can just kind of overcompensate and have everything, you know, anti-roam.
I like that take. I like it. I would like to see Muzi instead of on the Ash on the Jackal, though.
Yeah.
I think that would be like the pinnacle of, hey, you literally can't leave sight.
Pretty much, yeah. So we'll see if the switch over towards a gridlock and, you know, kind of doubling down the defensive anti-roam is going to end up working out here for NIP. I personally don't think so, because EG's already done a really good job of dealing with Nomad and for the most part avoiding those air jabs when they do run into them. You know, for instance, there was that last round too where I think it was Geo who ran into one, but the Necrox came in at the last second to help him out and make sure that he didn't die, and that they also got the kill against the player that came back to kill Geo. So
Geo literally got sent through an entire bench.
Yeah. The only thing that at this point I can see the gridlock accomplishing for them is maybe stopping someone from trying to get aggressive, maybe, you know, convincing a member of EG to not make a push. But look, again, Necrox, I think through the yellow stairs door right there, just finds an early pick onto Julio, and so much for that gridlock, because it's gone. It's dead on the ground.
I think right one used either.
Where is she?
She's dead. She's dead and gone. I have no idea where the body is.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find the body.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know? Necrox is actually just a mass murderer, man. He just buried her body that quick. That was insane. Crazy place.
I think it was somewhere near the yellow stairs door. It had to be. Young gets another kill here, too. Geo also crushes onto Psycho by Spiral, leading into basement. This is just, unfortunately, NIP throwing everything at the wall, seeing what sticks, and at the moment, well, Muzi's kill is stuck, but that's it.
Yeah, not too much presence along. Kamikaze just now swung inside of Piano as well, so both of them are upstairs, and they have to try and battle downstairs, and good luck with that. Good luck getting a drone downstairs. Anything you try and throw to gain any information, you're going to have to face check literally all of it, as well as these Evil Eyes obviously are still going to be alive of MVKs as well, so this could be very bad to say the least for Ninjas in Pyjamas. It's definitely going to be hard to try and fight out of this. They don't have a pulse on the side of Evil Geniuses yet either. They have not actually used him once throughout this entire series is they're trying to sneak a drone by. They do have one in, and it's Kamikaze's on top of White, but they really can't use that other drone so far. Kamikaze's drone's going to get shot as well, so not very much information. All they can really go for now is the plant, and Canadian should most definitely be on these Evil Eyes. They recognize it out, but Muzi with a very clean shot to the front of White Van, but Necrox with the rotation down. Yellow will take down one. It's all up to Kamikaze as he tries to rotate, but it's Geo to shut it down.
This is starting to get dangerous for Nip now, because Geo and the rest of EG are they're just getting aggressive now. Like, they're not really thinking about their movements anymore. They're just lining up angles, and for the most part, NIP are walking right into them.
They're still playing off of each other very well. I'll say the only one that really was just like, okay, I really can't believe you got that aggressive was Necrox on Yellow. Because a lot of time when that door is open, people will hold the cross up through where the bench's hallway is, so you can get a really easy kill on rotates. But instead, the man just gets aggressive with an ACOG from the bottom of Yellow, able to find an initial frag for them. Young continues to tack it on with a Nitro Cell, and all of a sudden, we have a 4-0 lead by Evil Geniuses.
And from that point forward, like, NIP just continue to kind of run into the setup. Unfortunately, they don't have much of a choice. They need to try and take a risk in order to find some kind of a trade, some kind of a way to get back into that round, and they just never really find it. So that's an easy one for EG at the end of the day, due to the heroics from Necrox at the beginning of the round and the follow-ups on the Nitro Cell, and as well catching players roaming around the first floor. We're going to go into the second to last defensive round here now for EG as they want to try and continue this run. At the moment, it's been a flawless pickup from them, but NIP is looking to change that. They are, in fact, going to take a tactical pause on this round in order to decide how exactly to do that, as they're about to attack one of the easier sites, as it'll be going to lobby and press room next.
And just for a quick explanation, if you guys are newer to watching competitive Siege or really any competitive game that's ran by ESL, one of the timeouts means that you have 30 seconds to talk to your coach. Once that 30-second period is up, you're going to see Gotcha flick up his mic, which means he no longer has contact with his team. Once after that point, obviously the players can continue to talk to each other, but as you guys can see now, Gotcha has no presence inside of the comms any longer. And that's also for the side of Ninjas and Pyjamas as well. No matter what side calls a timeout, both coaches get to talk to their teams for 30 seconds.
And it was NIP, just to call that and refer to that one more time, that did end up making that call. So here we go, folks. Into the next round, round number 5. EG's been dominating so far. Time to see if the pause from NIP yields results, or if it's just going to be more of the same with EG dominating.
And just for a quick update, please mute your stream if you do not want to hear what's going on over on the Bravo channel. All right, I will be telling you right now. G2 currently in the lead on Cafe, which is the second map between them and Cyclops. 5-3. Appears that Cyclops has at least got warmed up, or something else has changed. Might be something in the water, we really don't know, but might be that they're just very good at Cafe. But as of right now, 5-3 in favor of G2, and Cyclops trying to battle back. So far, the rounds have actually been pretty interesting. Cyclops really showing their prowess.
All right, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look and see how exactly NIP is going to try and piece their attack back together and try to get 2 rounds onto the board to get them some semblance of a fight to work back into this round. Now, to be fair to EG as well, or to be fair to NIP, I guess, in this case, EG fell behind as well, quite heavily at the beginning of Avila, went 2-4. Were able to fight a little bit more in the early game. It definitely wasn't this one-sided, but they were able to bring it back a little bit at 4-2 and eventually work their way back into it in the second half. This is a good start. Pino able to catch a very aggressive NVK by the window. Canadian looked like he still wants to find a response, even going for an aggressive camera toss outside here in press room. We'll see if he can work anything from it. We've got gridlock panels coming in as well, somewhere near Geo there. A nade against him, it doesn't kill him, but it does quite a bit of damage, knocking off about 50 or a little less than 50 HP on top of a drone, forcing him back inside of the bathroom. Well, that's not going to see much.
Yeah, not very much time off the clock either. It actually flew through the leaves. Those leaves on the palm tree are not sticky. It actually has to stick to the base. Some of them have branches that it'll fly and stick into inside of the palm tree, but just a little bit of a miss throw there by Canadian, as it will sail all the way through the leaves and doesn't make any contact with those sticks. Geo's going to be down at the bottom of admin stairs now. He might actually be able to find a frag. This man is creeping around inside of Tellers. Geo, once again, is at 3 armor. He doesn't want to move too much, otherwise he will let up some noise. He saw the head of Ash there. Rotating back through. Is Ash going to recognize out exactly where he is? Quick shot, but no, it's going to be Muzi to win it out. As the trades have already happened over on the other side of the map, it's going to be Young all left alone, but Julio will finally put attack in that, and Nip starts things off here finally in round number 5, getting their first round.
It kind of out of nowhere, too. Some early picks being found from them, but for the most part, just taking a lot of 1v1s that they were able to win. I'm imagining drone intel a big part of that one, especially when it came to those last 3 kills that were kind of off screen, has allowed for them to get a very clean execute off, and for the most part, they didn't really have to go into the building. They just picked most of them from the windows.
Yeah, they just ignored the upstairs setup that Evil Geniuses had, and instead applied a pressure on that mid floor, especially with that starting frag from onto NVK that forced someone to have to rotate back to lobby, because otherwise you can just swamp Canadian inside of Piano, punish him for being there alone, and then everyone else has to try and pick up the pieces on Evil Geniuses. But instead they rotate back through, everyone's holding those windows angles, pick apart Evil Geniuses on their lobby hole, but now they're going to have access back to one of their original sites. So it's going to be Consulate, Console office upstairs.
All right, guys, let's get into it. A much easier site to defend overall for EG here, so still a good chance for them to set up a 5-1 victory, but it seems that NIP has resurgence by ignoring the more complicated setup and just trying to go for picks. That's worked for them. That's given them at least one round under their belt. You know, EG, I'm sure, will be adjusting their playstyle accordingly so as not to run into that same issue once again, and so that they can indeed solidify this 5-1 lead.
And a truly incredible showing from Evil Geniuses so far on console, especially with how difficult Villa was for both of these teams. I mean, max overtime for your first match of the day. It takes a lot out of you.
Takes quite a bit out of you indeed. Thankfully, still the only match that these teams will have to play here today. They'll have plenty of time between the end of this one and tomorrow to get themselves ready for their second match, whether it ends up being an elimination match in the case of the loser of this one, or a match to essentially send them through into the playoffs.
Well, it seems like we're going to be going for an extremely rudimentary take here by Ninjas in Pyjamas. Start an admin, work your way across, get access to flag hallway or long desk, some people do call it. Buck above the reinforced wall on projector, and then throw some frag grenades over to try and get rid of any bandit batteries or anything that will be there, and possibly get a kill on a Young as smoke, then open up the wall with Kamikaze. That will be the order, or at least the laundry list, that Ninjas in Pyjamas has brought to the grocery store today.
So let's see, a lot of drone work being done by NIP right now. Not a whole lot of aggression itself, taking things nice and slow so as not to risk themselves in the early rounds here.
That's such a dangerous place to sit. I don't know why Psycho's just sitting at the bottom of admin. Like, I know they have access, but that's like so scary to just see the man sitting safely at the bottom of admin. If anyone chooses to get aggressive, yeah, they might get traded or they might die, but that's a very, very scary place to be sitting. Geo is literally army crawling through Piano. Okay. All right, Geo. Okay. Still plenty of roam presence. Excuse me, my gosh. Still plenty of roam presence here by Evil Geniuses into the latter half of the round. It does seem, though, that Ninjas in Pyjamas is not focused on any other part of this downstairs area. Geo's going to be playing inside of Antechamber. Does have Canadian at the bottom of Yellow as well, but not really safe harbor to rotate over, as Julio has been able to establish all of those tracks downstairs, but it's going to be NVK to check the first head off the box.
NVK catches Muzi, of course, first off here, so this is looking a lot more like the rounds we'd seen in the past. Julio going to be the first one to catch a trade. Necrox, once again, able to find another pick, too, so it's only down into a 4v3 at the end of the day, with EG still maintaining a +1 man advantage. About a minute left, so this is almost identical to the script we've had for the other 4 rounds at EG. Is one where they start finding picks right around the 1 minute mark by getting more aggressive against the potential execute setup from NIP, and it's looking like that is in fact what we are seeing once again. Necrox working his way through, almost spams a little bit into Young right there, but is able to avoid it for the most part. Psycho does manage to find some success, however, by picking up a frag onto NVK. Geo trades back for one, but Necrox falls. Young, however, holds strong on the inside of waiting room, but now will sit as the last man standing. Kamikaze is all that's left for the attacking side, and he's incredibly low. Young's been able to deny the plant, most importantly, and now Kamikaze gonna have to try and run back around and reattempt it in this last few seconds.
He's so low as well, and I believe Young does still have a Toxic Babe. He has one, and it's just enough to kill Kamikaze. He's going to continue to try and play this angle as well. Kamikaze has to try and stick this diffuser. Playing close to bomb, though. It's going to take one little burst, and that's it for Young, as Evil Geniuses finishes out their defensive half, 5-1.
An adjustment and hold by Young. He actually nearly got picked in waiting room just a second before this play ended up happening. Thankfully, he managed to catch the run-in against him from the side of the room, pick off the offending player from NIP, and save his own life, and as well open up a potential opportunity to clutch that in the 1v1.
Best support player, by the way.
So, with EG having this solid of a lead, things do not look good for NIP going into the second half. But ultimately, they are now on the defense, which is still favor for this map, and depending on the site, much, much easier to play into and kind of let your opponents dictate how the round will play out while still being able to control the chaos. So we'll have to see if a little bit of pressure coming off of NIP by switching to the defense is going to be enough for them to battle back in. Mind you, they need 4 rounds just to tie it. 5 more, basically in a row at this point in order to guarantee they go to overtime. You can only lose 1 round in the midst of that.
Well, we are going to have Nomad for the first time picked up by Evil Geniuses. Obviously, it's been played quite a few times by the likes of Ninjas and Pyjamas, but has not been picked up by Evil Geniuses just yet. This time, they're going to put Necrox onto the Jackal as well as have the Nomad of NVK. So, this is actually going to be very, very big because they're going to be able to lock down tellers and no one's really going to be able to rotate at all. The only place they can possibly rotate is up the big spiral staircase. Other than that, you're really not going to find anything if you try to rotate through the admin staircase downstairs. It's practically going to be a free kill for anyone that's lying in wait. As well as Necrox being able to track people's footsteps and really shut down this roam game of Ninjas and Pyjamas, which they were leaning on quite a bit on Villa. I really feel like this is a proper setup for Evil Geniuses to try and handle them.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
All right, well, let's see if NIP is going to be able to bring enough strength to the table here on the defensive setup. NIP, well, that camera's going to be found out relatively quickly there as it gets tossed into the tree. I think someone from the spawn of EG was able to catch it just as it went in. That or Geo just spots it very easily. He tosses out and then finds it with the IQ electronics detector. Either way, though, Julio's still looking to try and play aggro at the windows. He's got himself lined up for a potential peek. Canadian, meanwhile, going to swing open the doorways. Canadian did take a little bit of damage from someone there. He's lost about half of his HP in the early round here.
Well, plenty of time still to be played, as you said. Canadian taking quite a bit of damage here off rip, but nothing to be fatal just yet. And obviously there is no Doc on offense yet, but not going to need one now that the Canadian is fully died, as Psycho will be able to claim yet another life. And he's actually been showing up quite a bit here on Consulate for the most part, as the rest of NIP really has been down in the dumps, to say the least. They really haven't found too much. It's, more or less the captain of a sinking ship at this point.
They've got the track onto the Mozzie in the corner of admin. Unfortunately, they don't really have a way to flush him out right now, so he's just going to stay in that position and continue to waste time. There's also a small angle you can see where he's punched down into Visa, so they can't necessarily push him from below either because he also has Overwatch on that. Not really a winning situation where they can kill this player right now. They're going to try to spam into it a little bit, force him away, but once again, not meeting much success here. So EG are struggling to find really any initiation point they can use just to get into this building, let alone get to the site.
Yeah, and usually this is a death wish trying to sit inside of admin, but Psycho's biding his time, and he's wasting so much time just sitting in a corner, not moving, and they really haven't been able to get any intel on him. Necrox really hasn't even been able to find his feet just yet. He found one person, I believe it was Pino, if I remember correctly, but even though still, if it was Psycho, it doesn't matter at this point because he's still just going to continue to drone downstairs as Pino will drop the hatch from admin, claims the kill, but NVK will be able to get a refrag other places.
Woozy, with the most recent pickup here, just absolutely destroys the rest of the potential for this EG execute. Now, NVK able to trade one back. Young has some good intel into the player in bathrooms. Drone going to be thrown out into his face here as well. So that's going to be used by his opponents there, as it will be a captured drone. So they now know where he is. NVK, though, still finding additional impact here on the Nomad as he's able to pick up Pinos. I said this round was over, but maybe not just yet. Young is finally going to get picked by the Maestro, played by Muzi. Now it's all down onto NVK to bring out 2 more kills in order to clutch this. If not, it's going to be second round on the board here for NIP as they start out their defense with a strong hold of the upstairs site.
Muzi doesn't have very much health, but he definitely has the weapon of choice that anyone wants on that defense. Will he be able to recognize it out? Yes, he will. Muzi with a quick shot. That'll be NVK to fall. NIP starting things off right on the defense. They need to make a run right now. They do not want to wait for Evil Geniuses to get to this this match and map point in order to make the run back. Then you want to get as many rounds tacked on before Evil Geniuses reaches that map and match point. Otherwise, one mistake and it's all over.
So a confident start. Now time to build on that one. They still have another site that's considered relatively the easier one when compared to a lot of the others, as they'll play into... Actually, no, they're going to take the same note out of EG's chip page here and instead go for lobby instead. A lot of teams feeling more confident on this site over the past, 2 to 3 months now. We've been seeing it come into play more and more instead of going to that normal secondary site that teams would go to, either into the basement here in the case of NIP or the console office / CEO in the case of EG from the first half.
We're going to see the first pulse picked up. It's going to get 6 picked, but there's already an IQ in play from the offensive Evil Geniuses, so it's not going to matter too much at this point. Obviously, they're still going to be able to use it to get any intel that they really need, but it's a lot more dangerous game with Geo on the field as that IQ. Obviously, his sensor able to detect electronics, therefore he can detect that cardiac sensor in the hands of the pulse.
So, let's take our footsteps into the next round here and see, once again, the setup from the side of NIP. is going to be strong enough for them to counter out some of the action from EG. EG, they've been looking a little bit weaker despite the very slow start they tried to take. Unfortunately, just couldn't deal with some of the presence, specifically from Psycho on the Mozzie on the inside of Admin. Just wasted so much time trying to deal with that and not much success being found anywhere else on the map. Killed their chances of being able to push them into a 6th round. But still plenty of opportunities. They've got 3 more before they're tied up, so EG definitely not worried too much just yet.
Jammer ready.
All right, well, Muzi trying to get someone to establish a rotate hole into connector, but obviously Kamikaze's not going to do that. Oh, he's going to actually has a shotgun on hand, so that is good. That is the routine setup now for mute players, is going to be that M590 as well as the SMG-11. Same setup as Smoke, but instead of Toxic Babes, he also has those mute jammers and a Nitro Cell, which impacts are usually what you're going to be seeing on Smokes. Either that or barbed wire for those Smoke players.
Speed up and running.
Canadian kind of self-droning in right now in order to give them a little bit more vision into yellow. So it'll probably be one of the primary entry points you will use, especially if they're going for kind of a late round run-in again, which is something that we saw them attempt to do in the last round when they couldn't get admin control so easily. Obviously, it was a bit of a last-ditch effort. It's much more of an established way to approach the site when it comes to lobby. Piano, however, Canadian able to work his way in through yellow actually for free, so he's able to swing into that one. That's actually quite a bit of yellow control given over to EG without much contest. I thought there'd be a little bit more aggression from NIP in that aspect of the site, but no, not the case. And now as a result of that, players like Young have been able to walk right in. Julio none the wiser apparently as he tries to take the fight, and as a result, Young just knocks him out nice and easy.
Yeah, Young waiting on Necrox to rotate over so he can possibly get this back wall open, but Psycho has already rotated over to try and assist him on yellow. He's going to need all the help in the world right now as Young is between a rock and a hard place. Someone could possibly rotate through Piano and punish him, but it's going to continue to be Canadian on yellow. He's playing Devil's Advocate for this setup. Still has plenty of time on hand for this team, though, as finally they are going to be getting the exothermic down. Somebody might get aggressive on yellow, and yes, it will be Muzi as he knocks down Canadian. Pino to tack on, and Pino yet again, as it's only Geo and NVK left alive.
I was just going to critique NIP for being too passive in this play, as a little bit of a pistol duel right there goes the way of NIP, and they shut it down. But yeah, I was going to complain about NIP being like way too passive in this run and just kind of letting EG take control of the map, but we immediately saw that change with the play from Pino. Great stuff from him, pretty much single-handedly brings his team back into the round and reignites their chance to keep this comeback rolling. 2 more rounds now, and they'll have it tied 5-5.
Well, you got to look at Evil Geniuses for that. Ninjas and Pyjamas was allowing them to really have whatever they wanted, but Evil Geniuses really just did not have the foresight to see that Ninjas and Pyjamas was going to rotate into those lanes, especially holding down the benches hallway through to yellow. That was a big one because you lock Young out. He really can't transition out without dying. No one can challenge that because obviously it's a long distance with an ACOG. All you can really do is pre-fire with a hope, wish, and a prayer and possibly get a frag. But, I mean, for Ninjas and Pyjamas, they were really able to just lock down that upstairs. Canadian got stuck inside of yellow as well. As much map control as they did give up for yellow, at the end of the day, Ninjas and Pyjamas was always in control.
Yeah. So NIP still take that round at the end of the day, despite the early round success that was found by EG. They couldn't leverage it into a site take, ultimately, as it was mainly just yellow stairs that they eventually got control over and part of that main hallway leading over towards Spiral. So time for NIP to try and shut things down again, as now they will shift down into the basement and try to complete their site triangle with a 3rd and final site before they go back upstairs for the repeat, the first repeat on their defense.
Well, no buck picked up by the offense either, and
10 seconds to go.
that's a little bad. You really don't need Buck here, but he just makes things a lot easier because you can actually just clear the top floor, and once you get control of console office, you can actually buck through both floors. You can buck through the console office floor, through the piano floor, and get those bandit batteries from all the way upstairs instead of also having to clear that middle floor. But this time around, they're going to have Canadian on Sledge, so that point is practically invalid. They're going to have to clear all the way downstairs to get Canadian inside of Piano, or someone that has soft destruction. It's more than likely going to be Canadian or Necrox to open up the floor to get rid of these bandit batteries. You can always shoot to the floor with Geo as well.
Yeah. Geo, of course, going to be trying to find a little bit of intel in the early round. Just hip fire and a couple cameras out of the way. Nothing too important getting knocked out here. Just easing the pain for the rest of his team here. And he's going to head back upstairs, I believe, over towards the CEO balcony. Start to work his way, or at least open a possibility for his team to work his way here. Now, he did not actually spot Pino. I believe it was Pino sitting behind the CEO table, so if he pushes this, he's got to be very, very careful. There was a player that went completely unnoticed. And yeah, it is indeed Pino sitting just in the next room here, pretty much waiting for Geo to commit. Seems that Geo's got some idea that there's someone in the next room, though, so he's not going to fully force himself into it, which is a good thing.
You see some playing right there on top of the couch. Is a very interesting place to sit, but Legion's going to be the one track. That's going to be Psycho over inside of admin. Geo still recognizing out that obviously there is a Valkyrie inside. That's what the ping's going to notate to a team. Hey, I've got somebody inside of connector. I need some help right now. Canadian is actually going to go underneath with Jackal. It's going to be Necrox as they're trying to take over benches.
Minute and a half left, so just over half the round here for EG to play with on their attack. They're making good progress, but the thing is they're ultimately trying to attack the basement while still focusing on the roamers upstairs. They need to finish off these duels very quickly, otherwise they are going to find themselves out of time. Now, 1-for-1 exchange will start. The Psycho is going to get caught getting a little bit too aggressive moving out to that admin position. Julio, though, catches NVK. Also, Canadian caught dropping down by Julio there, too. A nice play from him. The rest of the team can start to get hyper-aggressive now, as there's just not enough players from EG left, and there you go. NIP shut it down. Pino hopping out to get the last kill as they claim yet another one and put themselves only one away from tying it up now at 5-4.
Well, looks like it's time to restart the train. So we'll be heading back downstairs, and Evil Geniuses needs to try and find something. Quick timeout by Gotcha. Very smart, especially in this moment. You don't want to let it get too far. You don't want things to be tied up. You want to try and shut things out right now in these next 2 rounds. So Coach feels like he has some words to say, and obviously Ninjas in Pyjamas can talk to their, or excuse me, Ninjas in Pyjamas coach can obviously talk to their team as well.
So we'll see what exactly EG as well are going to try and adjust. This is very similar timing, in fact, to when we saw NIP take their own pause towards the end of the first half. So this is very much a near repeat of the first half itself, just with the teams being flipped. So it's time to see if that impact is going to be just as strong here for EG as it seemed to be for NIP when they brought a lot more strength back into their attacking side as well, in addition to probably a little bit of clarity for how they were going to approach the opening rounds of this defensive half. So far, things looking a lot better for NIP on the defense. A lot more control, denying control more than anything away from EG and forcing them to make a lot of mistakes, trying to play over-aggressive and ultimately forcing their hand in multiple situations to try and give themselves an advantage, which at that point, as we've seen happen 2 to 3 different times already, once NIP get that man advantage, they pounce and just stop EG from trying to do anything else throughout the rest of the round.
All right, well, spoiler warning for everyone in the chat. If you don't want to hear what happened over on the Bravo channel, please mute your guys' stream right now. Okay, so G2 ended up beating Cyclops 2-0. Last map was Cafe, which was a little bit more contested by Cyclops, but at the end of the day, it's G2 on land, baby. So 2-0 so far as G2 at least. Now, so they're going to be at the top of Group B. They're 1-0. Team Secret is 1-0. And the next matchup over on Bravo is going to be SSG versus Vodafone Giants, which are the other 2 inside of Group C, which is one of the matchups that we are casting currently.
So guys, jumping back into this match, we'll get started in just a second here, as the pause should be pretty much over at this point, at least in terms of the timing of it anyway. So just a couple more seconds away from leaping into our 10th round of the matchup. Just a few more left to go here, and only one more left before EG ends up losing their lead over NIP, who's been doing a great job of recovering so far on the defensive half. Besides this, if they manage to complete this, if they manage to fully bring it back and pull off the same thing that really EG just did back over on Villa, then we're going to be heading to a 3rd and final map to settle these teams' differences and figure out who heads into the upper bracket match here for Group C and who heads into the lower bracket. Let's get into it, though. We're finally unpaused. Let's resume the match.
Shall we? I think we shall. Console meeting. Yeah, exactly, right. Console meeting going to get picked up as apparently,
Need to locate
I believe that's Psycho yawning for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Apparently he's not very enthused about their showing so far, but things are getting a lot closer. I promise, Psycho. Things are going to get crazy here. Psycho actually lower on the totem pole than I had predicted at this point in time. It's Muzi actually at the top with 11-4. So once again, Psycho not showing up to what we've seen him do in prior engagements. But nonetheless, Ninjas in Pyjamas is still on the comeback here. They still have 1 round to find to try and make this 5-5 and possibly end up winning their matchup.
He's still finding impact ultimately at the end of the day. It's just a different form of impact. We've been seeing a lot more delay work being done from him, especially on the defensive side, and he's been pretty good at it, especially when you consider the first round. The play on Mozzie on the inside of the outside of the admin offices was really good and wasted a good minute or 2 off the clock from EG. So certainly not necessarily in the form of kills and finding impact, but definitely still contributing to the team here.
Seems like it may be a little bit of a slower take here from Evil Geniuses to start off round 10, which might work out a little bit better for them. Last time they really weren't able to capitalize on any intel that they got. They might want to try and tighten things up, at least batten down the hatches on the ship, because if they let this round slip, this is going to get extremely difficult to try and win out. And we're more than likely going to be going to overtime at that point, because as we saw prior with Evil Geniuses, when these things get extremely tight, we're going to overtime almost every single time. So
let's take a look. See what exactly EG are going to bring onto the table. Quick entry into the actual building this time. NVK is not going to be deterred too much by getting access to press room. Rest of the team are going to be able to, I believe, get access to yellow stairs relatively quickly too, and then start their work upstairs. So initially they do have a little bit more room to work with than they've necessarily had in some of these previous rounds, but it's time to see if they can, again, get to that execute point, which has been the problem for really both of these teams over the course of this map so far, has been actually getting to a point where they can successfully execute, just because roaming presence has been such a deterrent in both halves so far.
Evil Genius is also switching things up. They've dropped the Jackal as well. Necroc's now on sled, so frag grenades instead of being able to track people's footsteps. Held them out a little bit, especially with how many ninjas in pajamas has lying in wait on site. They do have one roamer. He's all the way down the stairs, I believe, if I saw the silhouette correctly. Geo will rotate over to bathrooms. They don't have a foothold on the site yet. They have yellow control, but they really haven't been able to gain any access to console or anything of importance just yet. And we're dangerously getting low on time.
Yeah, just over a minute remaining here.
Oh.
IP.
Oh, the timing.
Canadian coming so close to this one as well.
Oh, the timing.
Let's see, Geo as well they have good intel as to where this player is. They're going to try to force their hand, and there you go. Julio forced into the open. NVK also catching Psycho. It's a double frag here from EG to give them a massive advantage. Canadian having to pull away from the yellow stairs. The second Toxic Babe is thrown into the open. Only one should be left on that smoke. Canadian, however, also able to get Muzi, so it's all on Kamikaze at this point. EG just surgically removing the members of NIP from the server one by one right now.
Looks like a good timeout to try and set you up for a perfect round. They recognize that now the Kamikaze is on yellow. He allocates for the shotgun, but Geo's already at line in wait upstairs, and Evil Geniuses push it to map and match point.
So, one more round separates EG from a spot in the upper bracket decider matchup here for their group. If not, we could potentially still end up in overtime once again for map number 2 here, as NIP is still hot on their tail. It's only one round after all. EG taking it nice and slow, and most importantly, using some great intel in order to get their first couple of kills. From that point forward, much more of a domino effect than anything. But now let's see if they can continue that on a site like Lobby.
Honestly, I think this is a very dangerous site to try and go to with how things are currently playing out. They're going to put Pulse downstairs as well as Kamikaze. With this in particular, not a bad six-pick, especially with IQ on the field. So Muzi going to rotate over from Pulse to the Mozzie, and they want as many Nitro Cells as they possibly can, especially on the side. They're trying to play for plant. What we saw last time is they got extremely aggressive onto the players that infiltrated Yellow Staircase. It ended up working out pretty well. As we said before, they allowed them into that benches hallway area, but immediately locked it down and did not grant them access to literally anything else. It was very good play, but it seems that Evil Geniuses might be going more towards the blitz than the actual pass play here, as we have gotten Netcrocs over onto the sledge once again instead of the Jackal, which he's been playing quite a bit throughout this matchup, and it worked out the last time around. Again, a flawless round for Evil Geniuses on the prior round, and I'm really looking for Ninjas in Pajamas to try and shut down this initial take from Evil Geniuses, because that seems to be what is causing Evil Geniuses to lose these rounds. When that initial take doesn't work out for them, they slow down quite a bit, and Ninjas in Pajamas is able to really ramp up the pace and punish them because of that.
So opening a few seconds of the round to get started here. Let's see what exactly EG wants to go bring to the table. If it'll be that same type of info gathering play, and then looking to, like I said, surgically try and take out one or two players, which will give them an advantage they can use to work a more traditional execute. Or if it's something different in the cards for them. Most importantly, if NIP is going to try to force their hand to change up the gameplay. They might also be making some changes here, too, to their own style. Great Valcam, as long as it doesn't get found out by the IQ. A lot of info right now going over to Pino.
Yeah, he used that before as well, and Geo hadn't found it either. So that's a very impressive Black Eye Cam to be all the way out on that solid fencing. Necrox now with some frag grenades is going to attempt to clear out Consul. Julio, though, will take down Canadian and continues to attack on his Pino. And Gio will fall next, and NVK
What?
apparently is the Ninjas in Pyjamas show at this point in time.
Man, what a like 180-degree turn from the last round this was.
Yeah, I really don't know what happened over on that end. I mean, there's bodies literally everywhere.
It honestly looks like they just tried to execute main door and just like got destroyed because they didn't really put, you can see like those barricades are barely injured, so they didn't really put much pressure on the balcony or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure upstairs presence from NIP just crushed these guys when they tried to push lobby.
I feel like this is a murder mystery, and you and I are detectives trying to put this back together.
Clearly didn't have enough intel or drone intel or drone like out-of-date drone intel or something like that, because they got
I think what happened
destroyed.
was they blew the front door open, and Julio was just there to answer both of them.
Yeah, that's happened a few times, I think, too, throughout the course of the series. So
Yeah, he took out Ash on the main door, and I believe he took out Gio from the antechamber window. Well, now, Ninjas in Pyjamas obviously all still alive as Young and Necrox have their sights set on bench. Still plenty of people upstairs as well, and especially with lobby and the verticality of this site, it's going to be very, very hard for them to try and gain any access. Necrox is going to rotate back downstairs, but again, it's going to take a lot of heroics for Evil Geniuses to try and gain any access to this site without getting absolutely demolished by lead.
Young still sitting back in the west corridor and waiting here now, just to make sure there's no push coming his way. He's going to try to get open the wall. Keep in mind, there's still that presence towards yellow that he's got to be careful of here. And Necrox is the only one that can save his life. Wraps around the corner right into the Doc's hands, though. Psycho ready to take that 1v1. Young will trade it, but it doesn't matter now. They have such a big numbers advantage. Kamikaze makes a last-ditch push, finishes off Young, and that's NIP still staying in the matchup here. One more round away, again, from tying us up, and this time taking it to OT for a second map in a row.
Impressive grip by Ninjas in Pyjamas to not falter when Evil Geniuses does get to that point. I mean, what else would you expect from this roster? Especially in recent history on land, they've been looking pretty good. So, getting one step closer to tying this up and pushing us to overtime once again, but obviously Evil Geniuses has some other ideas. They are going to be attacking Cafeteria Garage, which, again, why not? They've already won the other sites. They really don't want to go back up to Console. They'd much rather go downstairs, which has been tried and true so far for Ninjas in Pyjamas. They're going to 6-pick once again off of the pulse over to a Vigil instead, which actually could end up working out for them. There is no there is no Jackal on the field for the offense, no 6-picks coming out either, showing those cards early on instead of trying to use those up. So, more than likely going to be seeing quite a bit of roam presence here by Ninjas in Pyjamas.
He's still a presence of a Nomad, however, which is still going to potentially cause problems for a Vigil, especially if he tries to get aggressive and, lurk up on these players to take some duels. But for the most part, we haven't really been seeing those kinds of duels take place. And when they have happened, like this map in general does not really play into those types of angles too well due to the slow-natured play that both these teams have had to take, where essentially the second the attacking team enters the building, they are in the execute phase already. Just because roam presence has been so heavy from both teams, I don't think either team really wants to take much of a chance on playing around with, control of part of the building they don't necessarily need. It seems both teams have been pretty much okay to go right to the execute point just because they either aren't able to get enough intel and then use that to take map control, or they just don't want to take the risk.
Objective is to defuse the
Well,
bomb.
Pino once again with a Valkyrie camera outside. He's going to put it on the palm tree, which this is a pretty rudimentary camera. I really want to see how he throws this second cam to hit it all the way at the fence. We're going to be seeing it here in just a second. He does have one remaining, but instead he's going to be destroying butterflies.
Very important.
Very important butterflies. Those are make or break in this round.
Just can't have the visual distraction in the window, like colors and stuff. You're just like, oh, I'm gonna shoot that. It scares you.
Jump scares.
Nothing, nothing can be in my face.
Nook isn't even in the game yet. We're already getting jump scares. All right, well, drone's now going to be heading up yellow for the likes of Evil Geniuses, and quite a bit of presence there. They will recognize out now that Muzi has donned the mantle of Vigil. Quite a bit of presence downstairs, obviously, as well, but we're more focused on the upstairs for Evil Geniuses, as they need to get this full clear to get Gio somewhere that he can get rid of these bandit batteries that Julio has placed on the garage.
VK also still being very careful of any potential run-up that we might see from NIP over upstairs on the CEO balcony. So just keeping constant watch on that, and making sure that we don't see any run-outs. It's not looking likely that we'd see that anyway. That's a little out of character for NIP. That was more so something they were willing to try on the last map. Not so much here, just due to how close this one has been and how much NIP's had to fight from the backside here. They do not want to lose any players in the early round if they can avoid it.
Yeah, and all it takes is one air jab to spell disaster for that run out.
pretty much a guaranteed kill if the air jab connects, unfortunately, due to the time it takes for the player hit by it to recover. Drone presence going to be working its way in upstairs. They should have been able to get at least an idea that Muzi was somewhere near the bathroom. I don't know if he had the jammer on when the drone passed by, so if he did, still would have had, like I said, a kind of general idea that he was somewhere in the area, just not good intel. Now, he's going to start to work his way back downstairs, whereas the rest of the team still set up, still ready to go. We got one player, I think, was reinforcing down in the basement, too, this late into the round here. Muzi starts us off the stronghold against NVK. Rest of the team on EG not showing any signs of being able to trade this back out. Geo comes close, finds a little bit of damage, it looks like, onto Muzi there, but nothing really serious. They're forcing this maybe a little bit too early. Still have plenty of time left, but they're taking some very aggressive peeks. Kamikaze going to catch an advantage on that most recently, and Pino also able to find Young. Once again, EG's execute just falling apart at the seams.
They always allow someone to slip through the cracks, and it's really been punishing them with this defense of Ninjas and Pyjamas. Necroc's going to take quite a bit of damage. Challenges yellow is Geo. He's trying to pick up the pieces right now. He knows that one's prone behind the box. That box is allowed to be able to be shot through, but he's not going to deal any damage. Has to try and get this diffuser down now. Necrox is all the way upstairs. It's actually going to be a fake as Geo continues to attack on, but he will finally get downed. It's all left up to Necrox. Pino to clean up the kill, and it'll be Julio to push Nip to overtime.
So, overtime number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Second map, second overtime. These guys are going the distance, that's for sure. Now it's up to NIP to continue this comeback, put themselves into the lead, and take control of this map. As EG can still close it out right here, right now, if they rally back with 2 out of 3 of these next rounds.
You know what? No matter how much I yell and scream over any moment of a game, I will never be as hype as a Brazilian caster.
I know.
Like they pushed to overtime, and from the other room, like we're not even next to them at all. They're all the way in the other room, on like the other end of the room. We can hear the Brazilian casters when Nip does something. It's fantastic. It's
literally
so
a wall in between us.
There's
Like
literally a wall in
solid
between us. It's like, nice! It's so good, dude. I love it.
There's an unreinforceable wall in between us. And
Literally a concrete wall
Yeah.
in between us. Muzi once again going to don that vigil, and he's been extremely prolific with it so far, but you have to question what he's 6-picking off of, because a lot of frag grenades have been used by the offense, and he's getting off of the Jaeger.
Used by attackers.
And so, into our first round of overtime, where the sides are going to remain the same, at least for now. It's going to be NIP starting out on the defense. You and the rest of EG stay on the offense for the first round, but that will switch every single round, in case you're newer to Siege. Don't know how our overtimes work.
Welcome to Siege. What are you selling? All right, well, reinforcements now going to be...
Lots of metal walls, that's what we're selling.
Lots of metal.
We have magic metal walls.
Where do the reinforcements come from? We don't know. They're all wizards. Crazy stuff. Every single operator in this game is actually just a magical being.
Yeah, fun fact, this is also a simulation apparently, which explains like everything that doesn't make sense. like the magically appearing walls that just come out of nowhere.
Could you imagine if you actually had to like carry them into the map off of a truck?
Yeah.
Like, guys, give us the 3 minutes.
That'd be a cool way to change it up. Like everyone would hate it, right? But like imagine if the reinforcements were like in the site and you had to go get them. Like,
oh my god,
carry them with you,
and like you're automatically like a 4 armor.
It's like placing Tachanka's turret. You move that slow. Like,
oh gosh, that would be absolutely terrible.
That would make being a defender way more difficult, that would be sure. But enough about that, as we've got the members of EG out onto the board now, looking to once again attack the basement. They're going to work their way forward, just taking care of a little bit of the utility that's set up on the inside of Piano here real quick before they make any sort of aggressive moves towards the actual site itself. And of course, still needing to take plenty of time to deal with players like Pino, who are still patiently hiding upstairs to try and delay this timer, as they have successfully been doing throughout the entire defensive side here from NIP.
I will say, especially from the roam game on Villa, Ninjas and Pyjamas really hasn't been showing too much face, which has really been working out for them, because Evil Geniuses has been sitting spinning on this clock so often on their offensive halves, but finally Psycho's going to get aggressive out the front door, actually, and what do you know? NVK is lying in the weights with open arms and is able to claim a frag. Geo to continue to tack on, and it appears that Evil Geniuses has finally woken up in this overtime segment.
The opening kills in these rounds are so weird. They're either just going like super decisively one direction or the other. It's very rare that we've gotten, at least like in the past couple of rounds, it's been really rare that we've gotten like a straight up 1-for-1 exchange. It's either been one team gets like 2 to 3 kills immediately, or the other side. Like,
yeah, there is no, oh, we traded. It's down to a 2v2. It's like, no, one team is up 5v2, and the 2 remaining members have to try and do something.
Everybody's like double or nothing with their aggression, basically.
Yeah.
At the moment. So Necroc's going to be next up to bat here to potentially find a pick. Oh, what? Julio, how do you not win that? Had so much advanced intel. Necroc's also going to be able to get a nade kill into Kamikaze. And based to make my point even more serious, look at this. This is another potential flawless round. This one nearly a perfect round, as no one from EG's even taken any damage yet, let alone having lost a fight. There you go. It's another flawless round from EG as they start out strong in overtime with all 5 players still standing, and NVK the only player that even takes any damage.
And you also want to remember that Evil Geniuses went 5-1 on their defensive half. Granted, also Nip did as well, but Evil Geniuses has access to any site that they possibly think can win this out, and we'll have to see exactly what they allocate themselves towards. Now, they're actually going to go Console Office Meeting Room, which was not one of their initial sites. That honestly might be why they're going to it, because they went, if I remember correctly, Cafeteria, Lobby, then Console was their first rotation.
So they wanted to avoid this, or at the very minimum they played this a little bit less, so now they've been able to hide it a bit more for overtime and can potentially use this to just shut down the offensive strat here from NIP. This is quite a few issues.
Don't you hate to see that 6 pick when you're into Valkyrie? You're like, dang it, they brought an IQ. Why?
Pino is probably going to be able to find those cameras relatively easily once he figures out that it's alive. We'll see, though, because as we saw, Pino on the opposite side of this one, when he was on the Valk, was still able to sneak off a couple of cameras past. I think it was Gio that was playing the IQ or another player from EG that was picking it up.
Remember how we said don't hold your breath?
Yeah, I mean, fair, right? We kind of called that one.
Yeah, we were like, okay.
We were kind of like, yeah, it's one map. We'll wait and see how it goes.
We'll wait and see how Canadian does. And so far, he's had one incredible map and then one where it's a little bit more lackluster.
Yeah. So we'll keep our eyes on Canadian and see how he continues to develop in the stats department, of course. Good first map. Definitely helped his team to get over the hump and bring them back into the first map of the day. And, well, they might need him again here if he can step things up a little bit just in order to close this one. Only one more round needed, and EG have this under their belt, but it'll be the first defensive round they played in 7 rounds now, so maybe a little bit more unfamiliar with it.
Well, as we've seen throughout these previous rounds here on Consulate, it's all going to be on who gets these initial picks, because no one has been able to battle out of a man disadvantage just yet. We'll see if Evil Geniuses can possibly claim these first kills, or will they be the ones to finally break that mold. Muzi now on Rappel on balcony, trying to challenge the windows or getting some presence. And obviously this is going to be where Young will be playing, is inside of that projector room. That is practically where that operator lives on this map.
So Gio still looking for his own capability to roam around here and try to pick up some of the early aggressors here from NIP. Pino first into admin office, working his way forward, focusing on a little bit more drone work. Muzi, as you can see, also fleshing out the entirety of the first floor right now, which for the most part is undefended, but NVK has an angle, fails to react to it, however, so Muzi pulls the trigger instead, takes out the Maestro very early on in the round, gives NIP an advantage to work with here.
And the SSG versus Vodafone Giants game has started on the Bravo stream. Just to update you guys on that, we're in a little bit of a in-between here, but Evil Geniuses have been picked off first. As you guys saw, NVK did fall, but Ninjas and Pyjamas still has to capitalize on this. This might be, well, one of the first times that we've seen one of them battle out of this. And granted, it isn't that big of a pick. I know we all love the Alden, love to talk about how good Maestro is, but they didn't have a massive capitalization as we've seen by Ninjas and Pyjamas and Evil Geniuses in the last couple rounds, where it's 2 or 3 people that fall immediately, and they have to try and pick up off of that. For this is still very winnable for Evil Geniuses, and obviously they still have the intel off of those Evil Eyes if they were placed correctly. We haven't seen a lot of people using Twitch or anything really to try and get rid of them, and obviously there is no Thatcher to try and open them up and shoot them either.
And so moving into the late portion of this round, now the last third of it anyway, just under a minute left here. And besides that initial kill, the guys from NIP have gone incredibly quiet, and that's been because they've been doing a lot of droning work. They've been trying to make sure there's no late round rotates that are potentially going to come up their back from EG. On top of that, trying to figure out exactly what this site setup looks like here. Here comes the smokes. The execute shall begin, and now it's time to see if EG can counter it out. Gio tries to get aggressive, is caught on a rotate by Psycho. Smoke grenade going to go in. It does implode, should delay the plan a little bit. Muzi takes out a teammate, but he also finds Young as well. Canadian striking back with 2, though. We needed to see him turn turn it up, and they might have just given the team exactly what they needed. As now it's down to Julio and Psycho. Necrox really getting caught in a rotate as he moves back over towards yellow here. Doesn't have the angle for the kill. He'll regroup with Canadian, but then they'll split up once again. As now Julio goes to the corner, starts to look for a plan. I believe they hear that, so they're going to look for the opportunity. Here we go, a little bit of spam through, knocks out the planter. And just one player left alive here now from NIP to keep their chances alive. Otherwise, it's EG taking this matchup. No time left for it to happen, however. EG shut it down on the timer. And with that, take control of the series, 2-0 over NIP.
Apparently all you got to do is talk crap about him, and all of a sudden Canadian just wakes up. Because, again, we finally put his name in our mouths and go, okay, he's not doing what he was doing the prior game. Okay, guys, watch. This is going to be a triple kill real quick. I'm going to clutch up the entire round, and we are going 2-0 against Ninjas and Pyjamas. EG on top of everything right now inside of this group.
Geo and NVK leading the charge in that map for EG. Geo picking up 12 and 8. NVK not much further behind at 11-11. But everyone else very, very close. Definitely a team effort that time when it came to EG. And nearly losing control after a 5-1 start coming off of their defensive half. They are able to close it down in overtime and take control of the series.